take their seats. We're going to be getting started shortly. I can do them.
Okay, good. Better that way.
Well, I don't, yeah, I think if there are
We
any.
have any.
Yeah, if we have any. Okay. All right, I'm going to call to order the Board of County Commissioners zoning meeting for Thursday, March 23rd, 2023. And can we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Barnett.
Here.
Commissioner Baxter. Here. Commissioner Bernard.
Here.
Commissioner Marino. Mayor Weiss.
Here.
Sorry, Vice Mayor Sachs.
Here.
Commissioner Woodward. Here.
All right. Thank you very much. Commissioner Marino has notified us that there are extenuating circumstances, that she is ill but would like to be able to participate remotely. But in order for that to happen, we need a motion from the board.
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
We have a motion by Commissioner Bernard. We have a second by Commissioner Baxter. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, all opposed. Show that motion carries 6-0, and Commissioner Marino will be able to join us remotely, and we wish her a very quick and full, speedy recovery with that. Okay, next, we are going to have Vice Mayor Sachs lead us in our opening invocation and Pledge of Allegiance. If you're able to, I ask that you please stand.
Eternal God, in these troubled times when anxiety runs high and frustration runs deep, in the face of political transitions and an economy writhing in disarray, we are grateful for reminders of your presence with us, your love for us, and your grace towards us. Teach when we think that we do not have enough of this, that, or the other, to be more grateful for what we do have than fearful about what we don't, and more appreciative of what we have left than embittered over what we have lost. Show us, O God, where we need to be more swift to bless than to belittle, more quick to love than to loathe, and in this season, more generous in our offered compassion to the forgotten and forlorn. Make our lives the answer to the very prayers that we offer. In your holy name, God, amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All righty. And let's see. You need to have notice. Zoning hearings are quasi-judicial in nature and must be conducted to afford all parties due process. The Board of County Commissioners has adopted procedures for the conduct of quasi-judicial hearings to govern the conduct of such proceedings. The procedures include the following requirements. Any communication with commissioners which occurs outside the public hearing must be fully disclosed at the hearing. Applicants and persons attending the hearing may question commissioners regarding their disclosures. Such questions shall be limited solely to the disclosures made at the hearing or the written communications made a part of the record at the hearing. Any person representing a group or organization must provide documentation that the person representing the group has the actual authority to do so regarding the matter before the commission. Any person who wishes to speak at the hearing will be sworn in and may be subject to cross-examination. The applicant and county staff may cross-examine witnesses. Any other persons attending the hearing may submit cross-examination questions, including follow-up questions to the mayor, who will conduct the examination. The scope of the cross-examination is limited to the facts alleged by the witness in relation to the application. Public comment is encouraged and all relevant information should be presented to the commission in order that a fair and appropriate decision can be made. All right, do we have proof of publication?
Yes.
All right, we'll take a motion to receive and file. I have a motion by Commissioner Baxter, a second by Commissioner Woodward. All in favor, all opposed, show that motion carries. Is Commissioner Marino, are you with us?
If you can hear me, yes, I am.
Okay, we can, and is you also a yes vote on the receive and file?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
That's a
Make
yes.
That would be 7-0, thank you. Okay. Swearing in County Attorney.
All those wishing to testify or speak on today's items, please rise and raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Yeah, I gave it to you. All right. Are there any amendments to our agenda this morning?
Yes, we do have a couple amendments to the agenda. Item number 9, ZVZ ABN 2021-1863 Windsor Industrial. We have an addendum to the staff report in which we included at the second page an attachment and analysis on the development order abandonment. On item number 18, 2021-2123 Towns at Tidewater, we have an amendment to conditions if the board were to support the request. For Exhibit C2, there's modified conditions on the bottom of page 1.
All right. Very good. Okay. With that, do we have a motion to adopt the amended agenda? Thank you, Commissioner Bernard. We have a motion from Commissioner Bernard, a second from the Vice Mayor. All in favor? Any opposed? Show that motion carries 7-0. All right, do we have any postponements or remands this morning?
No.
Thank you. Do we have any withdrawals?
No.
Thank you. All right, moving on to the consent agenda. Do we have any, would any commissioner like to pull any of the items from the consent agenda? Yes, Commissioner Baxter.
Yes, I would like to pull item 3, Woods Walk Plaza, from consent, please.
Can you, item
Number 3.
number 3. All right. Anybody else? All right, so item 3, Woods Walk Plaza, will be taken up after the consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor, motion to approve the consent agenda item minus item 3.
We have a motion from Commissioner Bernard, a second by the Vice Mayor. Any further discussion?
Mr. Mayor,
Oh,
we forgot to do disclosure, so
oh.
let's.
Sorry. Thank you very much. All right, disclosures on consent. We will start, why don't we start with Commissioner Barnett, if we don't mind this morning.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have, for item number 3, received correspondence, no verbal communication, no site visit.
Thank you. Commissioner Woodward.
The same, item number 3, correspondence through email.
Thank you. Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. On consent agenda item number 3, Woods Walk, I've received and filed email from the Lake Worth Coalition. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Commissioner Bernard.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On no disclosure on item 1 through 5, and I'll disclose item 3 once we get to it.
Thank you. Commissioner Baxter.
For item 3, I received an email and verbal phone call from Patrick Wilson, and no site visit.
All right, thank you. Just County Attorney, is this sufficient, even though we're going to?
I would do it again once we get to the item, just to have it clear for the record.
Okay, thank you. All right, and then for myself, on consent, on item number 4, we did receive correspondence. My staff emailed with Matthew Barnes. All right, with that, Commissioner Marino, do you have any disclosure?
Thank you, yes. I do. Sorry, obviously I don't have much of a voice. On consent agenda item 1, I have written and verbal communication from Bill Whiteford of Team Plan Inc. And that's it. I have disclosures for 3, but I'll share those when we talk about item number 3.
Thank you. Okay, so disclosures have been made. So do we have, let me see, what do we have for cards? Do we have any cards on disclosure, on consent?
Mayor, may I be recognized?
Yes, ma'am.
There is a motion on the table to approve consent.
Yeah, we have a motion, right? Right, but I want to make sure we don't have any cards before we take the vote. It's regular. Let's see what we got here. Here, look, why don't we do this? Commissioner Mack, do you want to do these? All right. Just a moment.
Mr. Mayor, so far I've only seen public comment cards on only item 3, so if anybody's got any comments regarding any of the other items, please come forward.
All right, we're not seeing any. All right. So, do you wish to speak on consent? All right. I don't see anybody making any movement towards the front. Okay, with that, let's go ahead. So we have a motion and a second on the consent agenda, less item 3. All those in favor, all opposed, that motion carries 7-0. All right, next. Now let's move on to item number 3. And is the applicant here and would like to make a presentation?
Good morning. Am I on?
You're good.
Oh, good morning. Brian Terry with Insight Studio, here on behalf of the applicants. No?
Wait, give us 1 second. Somebody else got the switches off?
You have them, Mr. Mayor. Right there. Mr. Mayor, you have them.
Oh, it's mine. Sorry, my fault.
Am I? There we go. Good morning. Brian Terry with Insight Studio here on behalf of the applicants and owners of the shopping center there at Woods Walk Southeast Centers. I'll try to keep this very brief and really kind of just touch through a few of the items that we need to discuss. I know Mr. O'Connor is here and has a comment that he would like to make. He and I have been having conversations now at length for the past few weeks since Zoning Commission and frankly prior to that as well. This is for a small little out parcel identified as Parcel K on the Woods Walk Shopping Center there at Lake Worth Road and State Road 7. So what we're proposing to do is the addition of a 4,000 square foot retail building. Again, this is a little out parcel. It's about 3% increase of the overall shopping center size and square footage in total. So this is the conceptual plan. This is the plan that's been going through DRO and here in front of you this evening. The most important parts, and I think what we're going to hear discussion about, is really the access from Woods Walk Boulevard, Woods Walk Boulevard into our property. And so what you'll see is that, again, we're working within the confines of the existing access. We're placing the building in the corner of the property, modifying some parking spaces and the circulation in that little parking lot area to accommodate for the building. Interestingly enough, back when this site was originally permitted from a drainage and engineering perspective, there was also a bank proposed in the same location. Never ended up on the approved site plan. However, it was contemplated that this parcel always be developed. So again, we're not modifying any of the existing access locations or driveway locations. I think there's a concern that's been expressed to us that it's a congested area. And we've looked at alternatives. I think that we're willing to make some, look at some signage opportunities, some ways to try to clean up or make more obvious the access and circulation pattern. But this shopping center has 3 access points across its frontage, one on Woods Walk Boulevard, one on Lake Worth Road, and then one on State Road 7. all of which, again, are accessible for all traffic. And frankly, we have a very minimal impact of traffic associated with this proposed improvement. We have a total of 2 trips in the AM that we're adding in the peak hour, and then 12 trips in the PM peak hour. So it's extremely minimal impact. So there's a couple of items I just want to make you aware of that have been a point of conversation since the Zoning Commission when one was raised. We have been talking with the Woods Walk community as well as the Lake Worth Road Coalition. We've been doing this honestly for over 2 years. We had a previous application that had a different fast food style use on that parcel, which we removed and then moved forward with a non-drive-through retail building. We are considering and looking at our options as far as being able to improve some signage at the intersection that's been noted as a concern by the residents or Mr. O'Connor from the Woods Walk community. We are working with Palm Beach
Excuse
County.
me,
Yes, sir.
can I interrupt you for 1 second?
Sure.
Could I ask the folks that are wanting to have a conversation in here, if you can take that outside, you can speak out in the atrium. We're trying to conduct a meeting in here. Thank you.
It was brought to our attention also that Palm Beach County Schools is using this area as a bus stop location for a couple of buses. We've been in contact with the school district, talking to them and explaining to them the circumstances of the redevelopment and working with them to relocate those bus stop locations. And then we've been talking directly with our neighbor immediately to the west there, the Chase Bank property owners, about the timing and construction activities on how this will work and to minimize any business impacts to them. So that's the short story of what this proposal is all about. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. Our traffic engineer, Juan Ortega, is here as well if you have any specific questions related to that. And I appreciate your time.
Okay. Any questions from the board? Seeing none, is there a staff presentation?
I think Brian covered everything. I don't know that we need a staff presentation.
Okay. All right. We have 1 card. Oh, Commissioner Baxter, you recognize.
Not really a question, more of a statement. My concern was the displacement of the children. And what I'm happy to hear, I hadn't heard before this moment, that they are working with the school district to try to relocate those buses and children. It was brought to my attention. I just want to make sure that kids are still safe if this going forward.
Thank you. All right. We have one speaking card. You want us to do disclosures now? Okay. We'll do disclosures. This time we'll start with Commissioner Baxter.
I can't just say everything I said earlier. So for the disclosures, I spoke to and received an email from Patrick Wilson and no site visit.
Thank you. Commissioner Bernard.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On item 3, I received email correspondence. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice Mayor.
Receive and file email from Lake Worth Coalition.
Thank you. Commissioner Woodward.
I received and filed email correspondence.
Thank you. Commissioner Barnett.
1 email, Patrick Wilson. No verbal communication, no site visit.
Thank you. And my own disclosure, received email has been filed with the clerk. All right. With that, we have 1.
Commissioner Marinos.
Oh, sorry. Forgot she's not here.
That's okay. I have written communication from Patrick Wilson.
Thank you. All right. With all disclosures in, we have 1 speaking card.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, we've received a speaking card from Timothy O'Connor. Please come forward.
Commissioners, with your permission, I would like to submit a packet of information. There's one for each of you, each commissioner as well as the clerk. I don't know who I can hand that.
Somebody from staff will take that from you, sir.
Staff. You get those distributed, please. Thank you.
Thank you. You, if you can please identify.
My 3 minutes has started, so I got to roll.
Can you identify yourself?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm going to do that. Hi, I'm Timothy O'Connor. I'm a resident of Woods Walk. I am a member of the Woods Walk Homeowners Association and a user of the entrance and exit to Woods Walk Plaza along Woods Walk Boulevard. me and along with thousands of new and old residents along the Lake Worth Road corridor west of Florida's Turnpike to State Road 7 that now number nearly 10,000 residents, with several thousand to come and due to the addition of hundreds of newly approved households along the corridor. With the submitted plan, while the submitted plan meets all zoning requirements and has been approved by the zoning commissioners, this project will add to an already dangerous and overburdened traffic light and access to the Woods Walk Plaza. We have some real safety concerns with the entrance and exit to Woods Walk Plaza located on its east side and accessing Woods Walk Boulevard. This is also along the north edge of the outparcel addition applied for today. The right-of-way was designed and built between the years of 1985 and 1989, when Lake Worth Road and State Road 7 were only two-lane highways. Of course, everybody is aware that there has been a boom in construction along Lake Worth Road, and that corridor now handles several traffic trips a day, including the 1,682 traffic trips that go in and out that exit every day. It also includes 10 school bus trips between the hours of 6 a.m. and 7 p.m., multiple Palm Tran trips bringing patients to the dialysis center, shoppers, restaurants, and visitors. The congestion at this exit and entrance has reached a point that some improvements need to be done now to better facilitate these vehicles coming and going. With the Hunters Crossing, the 117 home development south of Woods Walk Boulevard now approved, this access is going to be way overstressed, and the liability when an accident happens is going to fall on Woods Walk Plaza and Palm Beach County. The pages submitted today show pictures of the congestion and backup that occurs throughout the day as vehicles enter and exit to and from the traffic signal at Woods Walk Boulevard and Lake Worth Road. I should also mention, this exit and traffic signal is the only way people leaving the plaza can go east on Lake Worth Road. When the stack lane grows, not only do the vehicles block the right lane to go to the Lake Worth Road, residents of Woods Walk and no patience drivers cut into the line, into oncoming traffic to make a left into Woods Walk neighborhood and or squeeze to the right to go out to Lake Worth Road. This is just simply a head-on collision waiting to happen. For now, we are suggesting that this right-of-way be widened to accommodate 3 lanes and marked and signed to allow 1 entrance lane and 2 exit lanes for vehicles wanting to go east or west on Lake Worth Road and east, then north on Woods Walk Boulevard. I had submitted a sketch in your packet. These 3 lanes will then serve.
Sir, I went ahead and added additional time onto your comments because of the time we lost in the beginning.
Okay,
But
I'm at the end.
Okay, if you could just wrap it up, we'd appreciate it.
Basically, if anybody has any questions, there are pictures in your packet and show the stack and as many as 20 cars back up stacked to go out to Lake Worth Road.
Thank you. All right.
Any questions?
Aye.
Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you. All right, Commissioner Sachs, or Vice Mayor Sachs, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a question to staff. This is illuminating on the traffic congestion. When was the last time we did a traffic study? And I'm looking specifically at our engineer, traffic engineer. When was the last time the county did a traffic study before approving this construction here?
Commissioner, the county doesn't do the traffic study, the developer does the traffic report.
And could I hear from them in terms of the traffic study? Could I hear from the applicant? I would assume these photos were taken contemporaneously with your application, sir. I was just wondering, what does your traffic study show with relation to this type of congestion and dangerous intersection?
So I haven't seen the photos that you all are looking at, so I'm not familiar exactly with when or what they were taken of. Mr. Ortega is here, our traffic engineer, who can speak to
Let's
the
hear from him,
analysis
sir.
that was completed.
Right.
Good morning, Commissioners. Juan Ortega, traffic engineer for the project. The traffic study that is associated with this application is insignificant. It generates less than 20 trips because of what we are proposing, because the plaza is existing. So we don't have to do any operational analysis. We are below the thresholds that the code requires to do any full-blown traffic analysis for the project.
Are you aware, sir, when you did your study, the amount of traffic that is generated today, even before you begin construction or begin your project?
As part of the analysis and the previous application, we did counts at the driveway locations. So
What date did you do those, sir?
I don't remember. It's the previous approval for the medical, the urgent care that is on the west side of the
Sorry,
plaza.
I can't hear you well.
The previous application that we did for the, for the plaza, we counted all the trips in and out from the shopping center. As you know, State Road 7 is a state road and Lake Worth is a state road. So we needed their approval as well. So when we did the previous application for this site, we counted the data that was there. We used that data for this analysis. We included in the analysis, so we know the number of cars coming in and out of the development. However, based on the small increase in the number of trips by the small building, we are not required to do a full-blown traffic analysis, yet we included the information from the previous application.
And so your statistics that you used were from the Florida Department of Transportation on these two state roads, sir?
We went to the field and we did counts. It's the actual number of trips coming in and out. Now, for this application, we used the county's trip generation rates to show that the project is insignificant.
All right, are there any further questions? Seeing none, would somebody like to make a motion?
I make a motion to approve.
We have a
item number
motion.
3.
Thank you. So we have a motion from Commissioner Baxter for approval and a second from Commissioner Bernard. Any further discussion? All in favor? All opposed? That motion carries 7-0. All right.
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah.
I did receive one comment card for item 5, but that we've already voted on that item. So just Mr. Douglas Davis, we already voted on that item. Is it
Consent.
consent?
Yeah, it was a consent item.
Yes,
This is on Green K.
yes, regarding Green K project.
Okay, we'll go ahead and, yes, sir.
You can hear the comment, and if you decide, you could reconsider if necessary.
Okay, thank you, sir. All right, I'm sorry, we apologize for that. We'll be happy to hear your comment on item number 5.
Okay, should I identify myself first, please?
Yes, please
Thank you.
identify yourself for the record.
Okay, my name's Douglas Davis. I'm a resident of Valencia Palms, and my address is 7055 Imperial Beach Circle, Delray Beach, 33446. I come today with a petition representing myself, of course, as well as 193 other owners at Valencia Palms who have some concerns. We want you to know, first and foremost, that we are 100% in support of this project. And we recognize that it's going to create change in the area, significant change because of the magnitude of the scale and the scope of the project. So we want you to know that, but we also want you to know that we've got concerns regarding traffic, regarding parking. We recognize that there has been a plan in place, not in place, but there has been talk about a new exit coming off the Florida Turnpike in close proximity to this project, right there at Flavor Picked and the Turnpike. We don't know what the plans are, and ask that you work closely with the Florida Department of Transportation and the state to find out time-wise how quickly that will happen so that we don't have overflow of traffic on Jog and Flavor Picked, okay? Right there where we're located. That's number one. Adequate parking in the facility is another concern of some of our residents, as well as we understand that the water management department obviously has got a lot to do with the reason why this project was designed, and we understand that water from the Green Cape project on Hagen Ranch is going to be now moving and transferred through this site directly over to the water treatment plant. And many residents in our community have concerns about the chemical smell that's in the air sometimes during the year. Is that going to increase? There are other environmental issues regarding these chemicals that we don't know about, and we'd like all that to be public information at some point. Okay, in addition to that, like I said, we're in 100% support, but the main reason we're here today, and I'm here, is that I recognize, and we recognize, that there will be significant population of wildlife residing in this expansive nature preserve. Our major concern is that we will not have adequate protections from wildlife intruding into our community. Due to the proximity and, again, the magnitude of this project, we believe that the most effective way to impede any significant intrusion of wildlife...
Can I ask you to wrap up?
Yes.
Gone over.
2 paragraphs, that's it.
Well, here, let me just, I just want to clarify what was what the application in front of us was.
Yes.
Okay, just to make sure we're talking about the same. Can you just clarify for the public what were requested to, the amendment we were requested to make to the project?
Yes, the applicant's request, which was the Palm Beach County Parks and Rec, there was a condition of approval relative to the size of the trees that needed to be planted at 14 feet. So they modified that condition to utilize the current code, which allows 12-foot trees or a variety of 8 to 16-foot range.
So, sorry, so this is in regards, the item that was in front of us today that we voted on
Yes.
had to do with the size of the trees
Yes.
on the project.
I recognize that.
So
what I'm sharing is concerns that tie in with the trees and with the separation
I
of the two.
appreciate that.
We live within 500 feet of this site. You're well aware of that.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to ask you to conclude your comments at this time.
I will. I'll just finish
no,
up.
I need you to conclude right now. We're done.
Okay, well,
Okay,
I think...
but I think maybe Commissioner Sachs may have a question for you.
Sir, that's my district, and you're more than welcome to come up to my office, make an appointment, and we'll lay out the whole situation for you with regard to the water, the smell, the wildlife, the size of the trees, okay? Under Sachs.
I just want everybody on public record to know that our biggest concern
Got
is
it. Thank you, sir.
that
Thank you.
wildlife should not
Thank
penetrate
you.
into our
Thank
community.
you. Thank you.
very much.
Okay, we appreciate you being here. All right, let's see. Moving on, we have now finished consent. We are back to our regular agenda. So item number 6. This is a Commerce Future Land use designation, and this is being presented by staff.
Yes, good morning. Lisa Mara, Zoning Director. So these 2 items next on the agenda, 6 and 7, are we're proposing to adopt revisions to our Unified Land Development Code. And this first item is the Commerce Future Land Use Designation changes. As you may recall, on January 26, we were before the board for first reading, and there was discussion about modifying some of the language regarding fitness center and regarding microbreweries or breweries. So we went back and worked on this a little bit more, went to the LDRAB and LDRC, and if we could look at the next slide. We made some changes for fitness center in response to some of the feedback we received from the coalition of Boynton West Residential Associations, COBRA, and we're removing a previously proposed cap on the square footage for individual buildings of 50% for fitness centers in the Commerce future land use designation. We're replacing that with a cap of 20% overall. We think that will contain fitness centers, but at the same time to allow the indoor recreation that would be allowed in this industrial-esque type of designation. We also heard feedback on tap rooms and microbreweries, and what we're proposing is to eliminate the microbrewery designation definition in the code and the use. That use was invented in 2017 and hasn't been used to date. What most local governments do is they establish a brewery distillery as an industrial use, and we've chosen to nest that under the manufacturing and processing use. And we've proposed language to allow a tap room or restaurant up to 30% of the square footage, and that 30% stems from the comprehensive plan limitation that commercial uses in commerce need to be accessory only. Accessory is typically 30% of the square footage or business receipts. We're going with square footage in this case because we don't want the brewery have to count how much they're selling their food for or their taproom tastings of their products. We're also proposing to allow a cocktail lounge or a restaurant to have a portion of their facility to brew on site under 50%, because that's what most local governments do. If you remember hops back in the old days, they used to have the big, I think they were copper drums of brewery. So those are the changes we've made. We went to LDRAB. LDRAB supported these changes, and we're recommending approval on second reading and the adoption of the ordinance.
Okay. All right. Do we have any questions? Not seeing any. Do we have any cards on this item? This 6. Okay. All right. And I guess we need to do disclosures first. Oh, no, this is LDRAB, so yeah.
Right.
Okay. Got it.
So on,
Well, DC.
Mr. Mayor, on item B6, we have Linda Smith, followed by Drew Martin, followed by Dagmar Braz.
Good morning, Linda Smith, Jupiter, Florida, and I'm also representing the Sierra Club. To the best of my knowledge, everything I'm going to say is going to be true. The Ag Reserve tier must be preserved, and sustainable growth does not require a modification of the existing comp plan. I understand there's a whole list of projects that were passed in the near past, but just because you approve projects in the past doesn't mean you necessarily have to approve this. If you read the economic benefits of farmland preservation, you know the economic disaster development will cause in the long term for much of Palm Beach County. This proposal will expand unnecessary industrial uses in the Ag Reserve that was not contemplated in the Ag Reserve's inception. This will allow industrial uses west of State Road 7, which historically has been the line in the sand. Commerce is different from industrial, yet I believe this proposal uses the same FAR of 0.45 and maximum coverage of 45%. The FAR in the Ag Reserve is only 0.15, so that's a threefold increase, and that is not sustainable. The Florida Department of Transportation recommended the county consider evaluating the carrying capacity of the Ag Reserve to accommodate industrial development. We need a cap. We need another level of stop. You appear to be proceeding with revisions to the Ag Reserve land use before your March 28th workshops. So I'm asking you to please deny or at least postpone this proposal. There are newer members of the board, and I am confident you're diligently learning about the Ag Reserve, but months ago you folks prudently scheduled this workshop to help everyone, including the public, refresh their memory with 23 years of history. I do support, and I might be off on some of the numbers, the 50,000 square foot size limitation for warehousing in the commerce language. If a distribution center doesn't directly serve agriculture, it should be denied. And with a lock on that for in the future. No complaining 20 years later saying, oh, we can no longer serve only agriculture. And there must be a significant reduction in allowable square footage of commerce in the ag reserve, along with a cap on industrial uses for the commission to stay true to its constituents. We have to preserve the ag reserve. I know you folks all know about the articles in the Sun Sentinel saying the ag reserve is a land of broken county promises. That's very sad, so you have a chance to rectify that. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Excuse me, we don't have displays of public displays in this meeting. And so this is a warning, and if anybody does continue to do so, I will ask the deputies to have you escorted out. I have a question for staff. Can you clarify, this amendment applies to the Commerce Flu, which is a county-wide flu, is that correct?
Yes, this doesn't have any specific relationship to the Ag Reserve other than the tap room, which is limited to, I believe, east of Lyons Road in the Ag Reserve. But this is just implementing the comp plan language that was adopted. There's no FAR in the code, and this isn't specific to the Ag Reserve. The discussion on the FAR and square footage and any caps would be part of the text amendment to the comprehensive plan that was previously initiated by the board that may come up for discussion next.
Thank you. Commissioner Barnett, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a housekeeping issue. It's really hard to hear when people are speaking at these microphones. Maybe we have a soft-spoken crowd, but could engineering maybe work on turning up the volume? It's hard to hear.
Okay.
Thank you.
I think they're back there back in the control room back there, so hopefully they heard you and can make that adjustment. Okay, thank you, sir. All right.
So we have Drew Martin, followed by Dagmar Braz, followed by Jean Yermis.
Drew Martin, I'm here on behalf of the Loxetcha Group of the Sierra Club. I agree with Linda Smith's comments. She's also our executive chair. I think that even though this is a countywide amendment, the text amendment is focused on the ag reserve, and it's really just a question. The comprehensive plan originally suggested that changes to the ag reserve were to support people who live there. Yet a lot of these activities, whether it's distribution centers or a brewery, are really going to be about bringing people into the ag reserve who don't live there, bringing more traffic into the ag reserve. So that is a concern, because we've been told for the last 20 years that the only time you were going to put anything in the ag reserves if it supported the people who live there. And we know that you have commercial that you've put in there already. You have some affordable housing you put in there. Some of it's never been used, some of it has. But the question is, these developers are basically just using every excuse to open up the ag reserve and the rest of the county in the rural tiers. And so the question is this really, going to serve the service to people who live there? Now, I'm not against breweries per se. I don't drink, but, I can see that they fulfill a role in social networks. But I question whether this couldn't be built with the existing zoning inside the existing commercial areas. If not, is this something that has been designed to service the people who live there? Or is this intended to bring people in from outside the ag reserve? We are more concerned about the distribution centers because we don't want the ag reserve to become an area that is distributing for other goods other than agricultural goods. So in other words, if you're building a distribution center or warehouses, they should be supporting the agriculture that's already there, not some new kind of Amazon approach. We see other distribution centers being built. And the real question is the traffic. And although the legislature is going to make it really difficult on you to, they're basically passing a law that says you can't turn anything down if it causes traffic, which is kind of bizarre because everything in Florida is causing traffic problems wherever you go. And it really needs to be something you need to be aware of because, if people can't drive outside their house, and get to their job or get to their school, then it really impacts their lifestyle. So the question is, on a distribution center, is how many trucks are we going to see each day going in and out of a distribution center? How significant is that going to be to the traffic? And even though the legislature is telling you can't evaluate that, I don't see how you can make an approval process with at least not having any kind of traffic study or knowing what the ultimate impact would be. So, you know, what we've been trying to do all along is slow these things down, not make too many changes too quickly, and let the Ag Reserve absorb the developments they have rather than continue to grow.
Thank you very much, sir. And if I can ask the speakers to please, if you could limit your comments to what's in front of us, which is, in this case, it's adding a fitness center, deleting a microbrewery, and then adding in a brewery distillery to the commerce flow, future land use.
Well, I think I did mention the brewery a number of times.
I'm just asking for future speakers to please limit their comments. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Mayor.
We have Dagmar Bronze, followed by Jean Yermis, followed by Lona Wallach.
I appreciate your comments, Commissioner Weiss. But the thing is, if we don't talk about it now and staff does it, it's a little late. I'd like to just talk about two things. I agree with Linda and Drew, but I think the writing's on the wall. We do need to adapt with the changes. I know you're not talking specifically about the Ag Reserve, which I did not realize until Ms. Amara brought it up, but I was hoping that the FAR would be lowered a little bit when we talk about the Ag Reserve instead of the 0.45. It is 1.15 right now. It'd be nice if it stayed at 0.30. I'd also like to make sure that...
Ma'am, we're going to be having a workshop on the Ag Reserve next week, and that would be a great time to talk about those things, but...
Right, and is that on the 28th?
That would be on the 28th, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. But then I would like to say that we do appreciate staff jumping through hoops, trying to make sure that the residents in the Ag Reserve do get what they are requesting as far as microbreweries, fitness centers, and whatnot. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any more speakers on this?
Just two. Jean Yermis, followed
Yes.
by Lona Wallach.
Hi, yes, I'm Jean Yerms. Thank you for your time. I'm also here possibly maybe speaking more about the Ag Reserve, which would be for next meeting.
If you can contain your comments today to what's in front
Right,
of us, I'd
so
appreciate
I'll
that.
happily do so for you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good morning, Lorna Wallach here, and I think that my comments are going to be next week at the meeting, and so I'll see you all then.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Appreciate everybody's cooperation. All right, we have no other speakers on this. Is there any discussion from the board? Commissioner did you?
I was just gonna.
You making a motion?
Yes.
Oh, go ahead.
Second.
I was just gonna make the motion to approve item number 6.
We have a motion from Commissioner Baxter to approve item number 6, a second by Commissioner Bernard. Is there any further discussion on this item? Not seeing any. All in favor? All opposed? That motion carries 7-0. Thank you very much, and I appreciate the cooperation from those that came out to see us today. Thank you very much. All right, moving on. Item number 7, this is on electric vehicle charging stations. Staff, you're recognized.
Yes, item 7 is electrical vehicle charging stations, Unified Land Development Code, second reading and final adoption by ordinance. So when we were here before you last month, there was a suggestion we go back and look at the language on where in a parking lot could these charging stations be located. And we came up with the sentence that's in italics that will not allow them at the building facade and closest to the entrance. We think this is a logical solution to where they could be placed in the lot. And as you could see in that picture there, they're on the perimeter, and we think this will work for everyone, and that's the only change we made, and we would recommend adoption of an ordinance.
All right, are there any questions from staff on this? All right, we have any cards? We have a card.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we do have one card, and that is Linda Smith.
Ms. Smith?
Sorry, I thought I marked, I didn't want to speak, but I support.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. All right. With that, is there any questions from the board? Seeing none, I hope this accomplishes what you wanted, Commissioner Baxter. Does that mean you have a motion?
Yes, I make a motion to approve item number 7.
We have a motion from Commissioner Baxter. We have a second from Commissioner Woodward. Any further discussion? Not seeing any. All in favor? All opposed? This motion carries 7-0. All right, moving on. We are now on item number 8, and there's an accompanying item number 9, so there's both a land use and a accompanying zoning application. We can hear them concurrently.
Yes, you can hear them concurrently as long as you do disclosures first.
Okay. All right, so why don't we do that then? Let's get, we'll do our disclosures, so we get those out of the way. This is on item number 8, Windsor Industrial. And we will, at this time, we'll start with Commissioner Barnett.
I have no disclosures.
Commissioner Woodward?
No disclosures.
Commissioner Marino?
I have none, thank you.
Thank you. Vice Mayor?
None.
Commissioner Bernard?
None, Mr. Mayor, and then we don't have any comment cards also.
Thank you. Commissioner Baxter?
No disclosures.
Thank you very much. And I have no disclosures. Okay, that's out of the way, and we can move forward.
Good morning, County Board members. Appreciate the time this morning. For the record, my name is Jordan Sperling, agent for the applicant. I have a brief presentation, but just wanted to inform you the applicant is in agreement with all conditions for the small-scale amendment and the companion zoning application. I can go ahead and do so, a brief one, but we are in agreement.
Does anybody require, or no, I shouldn't say require, would anyone like a, no. I'm not seeing anybody indicating such. And staff?
We don't, unless you're interested, we don't need a presentation.
Okay. So with that, we have no cards. Is anybody?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to adopt an ordinance for the Windsor Industrial FLUA Amendment.
We have a motion by Commissioner Bernard, a second by the Vice Mayor. Any further discussion on this item? Seeing none, all in favor, all opposed. That motion carries 7-0. Now we're going to go on to the zoning application accompanying that.
Mr. I make a motion to approve item 9A and B.
We have a motion by Commissioner Bernard, a second by the Vice Mayor. All in favor, all opposed. That motion also carries 7-0. Thank you very much. All right, moving on. We are now on to item number 10. And then I believe there's also an accompanying item number 11 again. And we'll go ahead and we'll do disclosures on 10 and 11. And we'll start this, we can go ahead, we'll start this time with Commissioner Baxter.
No disclosures.
All right, Commissioner Bernard.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On item 11, I have a disclosure, verbal communication with Jennifer Morton, Lauren McClellan, and Heather Waldstein.
Okay, thank you. Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. On item number 11, I've had verbal communications and meetings with Jennifer Morton, Lauren McClellan, receive and file emails.
Thank you. Commissioner Marino.
Thank you. Yes, I've had verbal communications with J. Morton Planning and Landscape Architects, and I've had written communications from Lori Vinegar and Bruce Rocheleau.
Thank you. Commissioner Woodward.
Yes, on item number 11, I had verbal communication with Jennifer Morton and email correspondence that's been filed.
Thank you. Commissioner Barnett.
Thank you, Mayor. No disclosures.
Okay, and I guess we had verbal communications with Jennifer Morton and received emails. And that's just, oh, go ahead. Commissioner Baxter, you're recognized.
Just going to add that I did have verbal communication with Jennifer Morton.
Okay, thank you very much. Record is now complete. And moving on to your presentation.
Good morning. I'm Lauren McClellan with J. Morton Planning and Landscape Architecture. Make sure that works. Yep. I'm presenting the Moore and Connolly Commerce Project. It is a comprehensive plan amendment. I'm going to present the rezoning as well. With me today are the property owners, Mr. and Mrs. Connolly. They've owned this property since 1977. So I'm happy to be here representing them today. So as I mentioned, the request before you is a comprehensive plan amendment from agricultural reserve to commerce with an underlying agricultural reserve, as well as the rezoning from agricultural reserve to light industrial. The board transmitted this amendment on November 28th, 2022. Unanimously, it was a 7-0 vote. So the property is located on the west side of State Road 7, about a quarter mile north of Boynton Beach Boulevard. It's a small 3.41 acre property. So the surrounding future land use designations for the property shown here in red. Actually was known as the Home Ridge property. Shown in red is commercial low with an underlying industrial. That future land use was actually adopted in 2016. And then to the east of the property is the Bethesda West Baptist Hospital, which has an institutional and underlying agricultural reserve future land use category. To the north is agricultural reserve, but it is a pretty heavy chipping and mulching facility. Then the surrounding zonings, you can see that to the Home Ridge property to the west and to the south is light industrial, and then the hospital has an MUPD zoning designation. And then as far as what the actual uses are, we have an outdoor vehicle storage and dispatch office to the west, and then to the south is landscape services. Those are situated on the Home Ridge property. Again, I mentioned already the chipping and mulching facility to the north, as well as the hospital to the east. So this slide just shows the conceptual plan that we were required to submit with the comprehensive plan amendment. It just shows the approximately 4,000 square foot dispatch office and then the outdoor storage yard for the tenant. That is also very consistent with the outdoor vehicle storage and dispatch that is to the west of the property, and then the landscape, which will be very similar with outdoor storage to the south. I think most of you have seen this slide before. It just shows how we're consistent with the commerce future land use category. We have frontage on State Road 7. We submitted the concurrent zoning, that's before you today, and the property is 3.41 acres in size, which meets the minimum requirement. So really simple, just in summary, the proposed application is consistent with the comp plan, the commerce future land use category, the zoning, the land use, and the use are consistent with what's around it. This is really an infill property. It's only 3 acres, kind of bounded by some industrial uses already. It's also consistent with the past board direction and approvals in the area. And then this comp plan amendment was, again, it was transmitted by this board on November 28th in a unanimous 7-0 vote. So in summary, we respectfully request adoption of the application and the rezoning. Hopefully, if it's approved, I am excited that the Connollys will be the first one to take advantage of this commerce future land use category. So if you have any questions, let me know.
Thank you very much. All right. Staff, is there a staff presentation?
So planning staff for the transmittal hearing did provide a staff presentation, so we are prepared, but I'll leave that to the discretion of the board.
Would anybody like a presentation from staff on this? Not seeing anybody. Okay, very good. Do we have any cards?
Yes, Mr. For both item 10 and 11, we have 2 comment cards from Drew Martin and Linda Smith. So we will limit them to 5 minutes and 59 seconds.
And again, I ask for your cooperation that you limit or contain your remarks to what's in front of us on this item.
I'm going to let Linda go first, so you can spank her, and then I can learn from her mistakes.
Nobody gets spanked.
Just to be clear, the first one's the Morin Connolly Commerce, and then the next one is the zoning for it. So actually, I was going to put it all together, so I'm good. This property is west of State Road 7, the historic line in the sand. Just because it's small doesn't mean you have to approve it. I understand the traffic analysis indicates the project is at maximum potential density, a small consolation for those sitting in traffic currently and more people sitting in traffic in the future. Site-specific land use changes may seem minor, but these changes result in the cumulative impact. Urban sprawl analysis indicates an additional, and I may have some of these numbers incorrect from speaking to it before, 66,843 square feet of light industrial in an agricultural preserve. I mean, that's kind of, I know we're having the agriculture workshop next week, but it impacts this project as well. Please do not do the 1,000 cuts. The Ag Reserve has already endured too much and remain steadfast in growth management principles set forth by the comprehensive plan. I think you guys know where I stand on this, so I'll yield my time.
Thank you, much appreciated.
Drew Martin, I'm with the Loxahatchee Group of the Sierra Club. I'm the conservation chair. I mean, basically, our objections are, one, this is on the west side of State Road 7. And we had a meeting Saturday at the Loxahatchee Wildlife Refuge, and driving out there, of course, you know, you see the development is just encroaching everywhere on the ag fields. So, you know, it's really, a question is how you're going to really preserve the amount of agriculture that you've promised the county taxpayers over the last 20 years. And this is, again, a change, the future land use designation from agriculture reserve to commerce. So this is a direct removal of ag designation and giving it to commerce. So the question is, you know, how will this impact the future agricultural production, and how will it impact traffic, and how will it impact the open space? And I don't think I need 5 minutes, although I think it's very generous of Commissioner Bernard to offer me 5 minutes, because I'd love to talk. But I will excuse myself and yield back the rest of my time.
Thank you very much, and we are revoking your ability to claim time going forward, Commissioner Bernard. All right. Is there any questions for staff or the applicant? Okay, Commissioner Sachs, you're recognized.
I have a comment, if I could.
Go ahead,
This time,
Vice
thank
Mayor.
you. Also, I'd like to commend my colleague, Commissioner Bernard, on the 1 second less for folks. But I say this is in my district, and I met with the applicants some time ago, and I thought it was going to be pretty good. So I want to be very candid about that. But since then, I have reviewed the staff analysis very carefully. And I think that any change in zoning classification should be reviewed extremely carefully. And this is the first. Sometimes they say it's the nose, a camel's nose under the tent, you know. So I'd like to stop it now until we have a clear message from the Florida Department of Transportation about 441. If you review this carefully, as I did, thanks to the very good staff analysis, this item, this application, is already a storage unit, and that's fine. It's been there under agricultural zoning. But it's going to change to a dispatching service, which to me means trucks going in and out. And it will also change from agriculture to a commerce. And I understand very carefully that under the master plan, there are 2 economic development centers. We reviewed those in the last applications under commerce. 2 economic development centers from the 1990s in the Ag Reserve. And those are limited to 2 very specific areas. This is not that area. This is not that area. So I have to vote no on this, Mayor, and I think everybody should review it on their own. But in terms of my district, I do not like to see a change from agriculture to light industrial dispatching service on a road that is already overloaded with traffic. At some point, when the Department of Transportation figures it out, then certainly I can revisit this application. But at this time, I'm not going to change agricultural to light industrial. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Anybody else?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve item 10, which is to adopt an ordinance of the Moore & Connolly Commerce Flow Amendment.
We have a motion by Commissioner Bernard.
Second.
We have a second by Commissioner Baxter. Is there any further discussion on this item? Seeing none, all in favor, all opposed? So we have one opposition. All right, that motion carries 6-1. All right.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve item 11A.
We have a motion from Commissioner Bernard on items 11A, to approve item 11A. Do we have a second? We have a second from Commissioner Baxter. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Any opposed? Commissioner, let the record show. Vice Mayor Sachs is in opposition, so that will be a 6-1 vote. All right, thank you very much. All right, moving on. We are now on to item number 12, and I believe it also has an accompanying zoning application on item number 13.
Good morning, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners. I'm Bradley Miller with Urban Design Studio here representing the applicant LTG Sports Turf. This is going to be a deja vu all over again. I'd actually like to have
Bradley,
Lauren.
if you can hold
yes.
on, let's
Sure.
do disclosure. So now-
Yeah, let's go ahead and we'll do disclosures on item number, this is going to be item number 13, LTG Sports Turf. So we can start this time with Commissioner Barnett.
Thank you, Mayor. On item 12 and 13, my staff spoke with Bradley Miller. No correspondence, no site visit.
Thank you. Commissioner Woodward.
On item 13, I have email correspondence.
Thank you. Commissioner Marino, sorry.
Thank you. I have verbal communication from Alan Sickland and written communications from Lori Vinegar and Bruce Richelieu.
Thank you. Vice Mayor?
Yes, I have on item number 13, verbal communications, meeting with Alan Sickland and Bradley Miller, receive and file emails.
Thank you. Commissioner Bernard?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On item 13, I've had verbal communication with Jason Biram, Bradley Miller, and Alan Sickland.
Thank you. Commissioner Baxter?
No disclosures.
Okay, and for myself, on item number 13, I have emails that have been filed with the clerk. All right. I'm sorry, Mr. Miller, you
No
were
worries.
recognized.
Thank you. Again, Bradley Miller with Urban Design Studio here representing the applicant on number 12 and 13. I'm going to present this together. I've got 4 short slides. Thanks to Lauren leading the way here. This property is actually in same proximity. The one that you just acted on is in the little top right corner of the gray area there. The gray area is the Home-Rich site that's discussed. Our site is at the southwest corner. It's a 5-acre parcel. Over time, it has been used as a contractor storage yard, and now through the process here, getting that established fully, using again the commerce land use and the light industrial zoning district to implement that use. When this did get transmitted as well with a unanimous vote, and there were discussion at that meeting about lowering our square footage. We had shown our conceptual plan to show that the maximum square footage could be allowed. It was about 98,000 square feet. Since then, we've reduced it in half. We've eliminated the self-storage concept that was proposed before. So we're about half of the square footage that the FAR really allows. We did forward that on to our friends at Cobra and asked if they wanted us to come and represent. They said that it wasn't necessary to do that. So I think we've made those steps of addressing the comments that were made, especially at Transmittal, by doing this. With that, we've got a recommendation from staff for the land use. We have same with the zoning application. Both are recommending approval. We're fine with the conditions. I'm here as well, accompanied with Alan Sicklin, the applicant's attorney, if there's any questions.
Is there any questions? Not seeing any. All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Miller. And staff?
Make the same comment as the previous item.
All right. Thank you very much. Do we have cards on this item?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, we have 2 comment cards by Drew Martin and Linda Smith. This time they're going to have 2 minutes and 59 seconds.
This is why we usually sit toward the front. Linda Smith, I still live in Jupiter, Florida, and I'm putting these comments all together so I don't need another 2.5 minutes or whatever we're going to get cut to. So the site is located west of State Road 7. Again, this has historically been a line in the sand. The site is surrounded by preserve and miscellaneous agricultural uses. The site has a potential, I believe, a potential maximum of 32,760 square feet. This proposed amendment could allow up to 98,280 square feet of light industrial, more than 3 times what's currently allowed. I may have some of those numbers off. This property was, it's my understanding, this property was bought with the understanding of the current zoning restrictions at the time of purchase. And I don't understand why the property owner now feels that they can come here and ask the commissioners for a change in the zoning requirements. I understand anyone can ask for anything, and my previous request for $1 million still stands. I don't believe the paperwork has an indication of urban sprawl in spite of a potential 3 times increase in density. Traffic analysis showed an increase of 154 net daily trips over the current maximum. This is actually, again, no benefit to the folks sitting in traffic. I will defer my time. I have a feeling I know how the vote will go, and hopefully next week's workshop will be beneficial to the public. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Drew Martin, I'll try to go to 2 minutes, 39 seconds, and whatever it is that I've been allocated. I agree with Linda Smith, but I think more than that, I thought we were going to keep these developments to the main roads. So now this looks like a side road to me, and it looks like this is going to add a lot of traffic and congestion to this area. Again, you know, how's this going to impact those who are farming in the near area? Are they using this road for their tractors and other things? So now you're telling me that this area is going to go from agriculture to commerce. So I mean, again, you know, our argument is the same. It's on the west side of State Road 7, I believe. I could be wrong about that, but it's certainly in an area that was agriculture. The use was designated agriculture, and it's now being changed to commerce. So the question is this a good decision? And do we need this? And does it support agriculture? Because really the purpose is, if you're adding commercial use, it should be in support of the agriculture out there. I did not hear an argument from the landowner of how this would support agriculture. I hope that question will be asked of staff. And I'm now at 1:30 seconds. I'm not sure how this works. It seems to be going in the opposite direction, the timer. So I'm going to stop talking.
We appreciate your cooperation while we get our timing properly, I guess, or pushing the buttons properly. It was operator error is what I'm told. Okay, all right.
$1 million, is that?
All right, okay, bringing this back. Any discussion on this item?
Mr. Mayor, on item 12, I make a motion to adopt an ordinance for the LTG Sports Turf Fluid Amendment.
We have a motion by Commissioner Bernard.
Second.
I have a second by Commissioner Baxter. All in favor? All opposed? Oh, okay. So that would be, there's one opposing. It would be or Vice Mayor Sachs will be opposing, so it'll be 6-1. And this is on item number 12.
Mr. Mayor, on item 13, I make a motion to approve item 13A.
We have a motion by Commissioner Bernard. We
Second.
have a second by Commissioner Baxter. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? And again, Vice Mayor Sachs is in opposition. Okay. Thank you very much. All right, moving on to item number 14, and I believe it also has an accompanying item number 15. So, and I don't want to be yelled at by Commissioner Bernard, so we're going to do disclosures right now.
We have to add item 16 also, Mr. Mayor.
Oh, 16, oh, thank you. Very good. So we're going to hear items number 14, 15, and 16 concurrently, and we'll move into disclosures, and we'll ask Commissioner Baxter if she can please provide her disclosures.
So for items number 14, 15, and 16, our office received letters of support from the HOA presidents of Cypress Lakes, Thoroughbred Lakes, and have been filed with the clerk's office. Verbal, my staff and I met with Scott Backman and Charlie Scardina, forgive me if I'm mispronouncing that, and no site visit.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Bernard, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On item 15 and 16, I've met with Jason Biro, Yorami Gonzalez, Yves Carly Duplan, Scott Backman, and Charlie Scardina Jr. and Sr., and Brian Terry.
All right, and Vice Mayor.
Thank you very much, Mayor. On item number 16, verbal communications, meeting with Scott Backman, Charlie Scardina Jr., Brian Terry, Jeff Brophy, Jennifer Swartz, Jason Biro, Yara Gonçalves, Carolyn Rohde, Lou Nunez, and receive and file emails.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Marino.
My list is long. Can you hear me?
We can hear you very well, thank you, and we're grateful to... Go ahead.
All right, my verbal communications were with Scott Backman, Brian Terry, Charlie Scardina Jr., Paul Africano, Jason Biro, Maria Ferrero, Becky Coley, Suzanne Goldberg, Yara Gonzalez, Yves Duplan, and residents of Fieldstone and Thoroughbred Lakes, and I've had written communications from Scott Backman and residents.
Thank you. Commissioner Woodward.
Yes, I had verbal communication with Scott Backman, Charlie Scardina, and Brian Terry.
Thank you. Commissioner Barnett.
Verbal communications with Scott Backman, Charlie Scardina, and we received written correspondence. No site visit.
Thank you very much. And my own disclosure, I had verbal communications with Scott Backman, Charlie Scardina, Brian Terry, Paul Africano. I had a Zoom call with the neighbors, Jason Biro, Carolyn Rohde, Becky Coley, James and Vanessa Pitzer, Rick L., Stephanie Taylor, Yara Gonçalves, Nadine Kirby, Yves Duplan, and Lou Nunez. All right, disclosures are out of the way. And now the applicant is recognized.
Mr. Mayor,
Oh, yes,
my disclosures were for items 14, 15, and 16.
correct. Thank you, sir.
Good morning. Again, Brian Terry with Insight Studio here on behalf of the applicants, Mayor, Commission. We've been working on this development opportunity for a little over 2 years, and so we're excited to be here this morning. As you heard, I do have a brief presentation if you're interested in seeing it, but we've worked very hard to work with our neighbors, come up with a development plan that they've been supportive to. So again, we appreciate your support, and if you'd like me to, I'm happy to go through the presentation.
Anybody like a presentation?
Mr. Mayor, none of the residents submitted a comment card.
Okay, thank you. So we don't need a presentation. Staff, is there anything you would like to add? Okay, all right, and we have no cards. So with that, is there any further discussion on this item? If not, we can start making motions.
Would we like to include all three together, or do you want to
No,
do
you're
them
gonna I
individually?
will do them separately. So we'll start with item number 14, and this, I think there's, yeah, we'll start with item number 14. And if you look at your agenda,
It's right at the bottom of page 8,
on the
motion to
bottom of
adopt.
page 8, yeah, there's a motion to adopt an ordinance.
So I motion to approve number 14. Item
Okay,
number
so this is a motion to adopt an ordinance for the Brentwood Wellington future land use amendment.
Second.
So we have a motion by Commissioner Baxter, a second by the Vice Mayor. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, all opposed. That motion carries 7-0. Thank you. And now we're on to item number 15.
Motion to approve item number 15.
Okay, let me just make sure if there's anything we need to get into the record. Where's item 15? I can't find my sheet. Where's the sheet? 15. Okay. Okay, so this would be we have a motion and this would be to adopt a resolution approving item 15A. Okay. We have a second by the Vice Mayor. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, all opposed. That motion carries 7-0. And lastly, we're moving on to item number 16. Who's going to do it? Here's the motion.
So I'll make a motion to approve item number 16, A, B, and C.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Baxter to approve items number 16, A, B, and C. We have a second by the Vice Mayor. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, all opposed, that motion carries 7-0. Okay. Somehow I lost pages 9 and 10. Oh, wow. All right. All right, moving on. So we are now up to item number 17. This is the towns of Tidewater. This is item 17. This will be concurrent with items 17 and 18. And with that, we will start with disclosures, just to knock them out of the way. And we will start with Commissioner Barnett.
I've had verbal communications with Jennifer Morton, Ramsey Akel, Alex Akel. I have received correspondence, no site visit.
Thank you. Commissioner Woodward.
Yes, on item 18, verbal communication with Jennifer Morton, Alex Akel, Ramsey Akel, Lauren McClellan, and email correspondence.
Thank you. Commissioner Marino.
Hi there. I've had verbal communications with Jennifer Morton, Lauren McClellan, Ramsey Akel, Alex Akel, written communications from residents, and all of the written communications have been provided to the clerk on a flash drive.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Sachs.
Thank you, Mayor. With item number 18, Towns at Tidewater, verbal communications, meetings with Jennifer Morton and Laura McClellan, Ramsey and Akel and Alex Akel, and receive and file emails.
Thank you. Commissioner Bernard.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On item 18, I've received a verbal communication from Jennifer Morton, Lauren McClellan, Ramsey Akel, and Alex Akel, and I've received correspondence. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Baxter.
On item number 18, my office has received emails, and I have verbally spoken with Jennifer Morton and no site visit.
Thank you. All right, my disclosure on item number 18. I had verbal communication with Jennifer Morton, Lauren McClellan, Alex Akel, Ramsey Akel, Lorian and Dennis McKenzie, and several neighbors during a site visit. My staff attended 2 neighborhood meetings, and I have email correspondence that's been filed with the clerk. All right. So, Ms. Morton, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning. My name is Jennifer Morton with J. Morton Planning and Landscape Architecture. I'm here this morning representing Medjool Nurseries. Thank you for the opportunity to present Towns at Tidewater. We have 3 requests before you today. We are requesting a future land use amendment from LR1 to MR5. We're requesting a rezoning from AR to RS, and we're requesting a Class A conditional use for a townhouse development. If you look at the property, it's are on the graphic on the screen. The property is located on the south side of Hypoluxo Road between Military Trail and Jog Road. The graphic on the screen reflects the future land use in the area. We are requesting MR5, and you can see from the graphic, there's MR5 across the street as well as LR3. Around the south and west of the property is LR1. We also have an LR1 piece to the east and then LR3. When you look at the zoning request, we're requesting RS. There's RS across the street and AR, and then we're surrounded by RT, AR, and RS. I first want to focus on the Hypoluxo Road corridor and show you how this project fits in with the character of Hypoluxo Road. Hypoluxo Road is a major east-west road from US 1 all the way to 441. The graphic on the screen identifies the property in the middle of the slide and identifies Hypoluxo Road as a turnpike interchange for 95 and also a future planned interchange for the Florida Turnpike. The property directly in front of the site is a 6-lane median divided highway. It's 110 feet of right-of-way, and we have aligned our entrance on Hypoluxo Road for a right in, right out, left in, left out. So there's an existing median opening on Hypoluxo Road, and I point that out because that is the only ingress and egress for this property. Also, if you look at Hypoluxo Road and the development that has occurred along this corridor, you're going to see that many of the PUDs that have been developed along this corridor locate a higher density intensity product along Hypoluxo Road and then transition to a single family development to the behind the townhouses and the apartments. We have projects like Lantern Key. We've got Silverwood Estates, River Mill, and Toscana Isles, a mixture of multifamily and townhouse development. You can see our site identified here on the screen. Just to the west of that, it's 7.4 acres in size and fits in with the character of Hypoluxo Road. So let's look at the project that we're proposing. This is a site plan that was certified and approved by Palm Beach County DRO. This site reflects a plan of 69 townhouses, and the density is 7.4 dwelling units per acre. We're proposing 17 workforce housing units located off-site. Following the certification of the site plan, we had several neighborhood meetings. We met on February 8th between the developer and the Ranches Road community. On March 4th, the Ranches Road community and the district commissioner's office met. And then on March 8th, there was a meeting between all parties, the developer, Ranches Road, and a representative of the district commissioner. Some of the items that were discussed during that meeting included the housing type that we're proposing, townhouses versus single family, questions about how this project could change the character of the neighborhood, and also the impact that this development would have to Ranches Road. So we went back to the office and worked with the client to develop and modify the site plan to try and address some of the concerns raised by the residents. The changes that we made to the site plan include increasing the buffer along the southern part of the project. The buffer was originally 15 feet. We doubled the buffer to 30 feet. We agreed to berm and install a 6-foot wall along the south property line. Along the west property line, we agreed to install another 6-foot wall that hooked in to the wall on the south property line. And along our east property line, adjacent to the church, at the request of the residents, we added a fence in that location. So our project is totally walled or gated in. The only open access or border is along Hypoluxo Road. The other commitments that we made were, if you look at the graphic, we have an emergency access only to Ranches Road. This is a requirement of fire rescue. At the request of the residents, there's a gate that's located across that access. We are making that gate completely opaque so that you cannot see into the community. And then finally, we committed, not only do we not have vehicular traffic on Ranches Road, we will not have any construction traffic on Ranches Road. All our access, both for the development and for construction, will come from Hypoluxo Road. So the only buffer that did not change was that buffer along Hypoluxo Road. It's a 20-foot right-of-way buffer. And then along the southern property line, I just wanted to point out that our units are 60 feet off our property line, and then Ranches Road is 60 feet. So that's 120 feet that our buildings are set back from our closest residential property line. This is a cross-section of the Hypoluxo Road buffer. You can see Hypoluxo Road. We have a 75-foot Lake Worth Drainage District canal. We have a 20-foot buffer, and then we have an additional 25-foot setback to the first 2-story townhouse building. So a little bit of details about the type of townhouse project that's being proposed for this development. So we're going to zoom in on this area of the plan. So you'll notice that these units are 24-foot wide units. The 24-foot wide unit provides for a 2-car garage. The units are 100 feet, or the lot is 100 feet deep, and every lot has a 25-foot front setback and a 25-foot rear setback or 25-foot backyard. Because the units have a 2-car garage, means that there are 2 parking spaces in front of the garage. So there's 4 parking spaces for almost every unit on the property. Because we made the adjustment for the increase in buffer, we have approximately 3 units that are 22 foot wide, but for the most part, they're all 24 feet wide. So this is a nice townhouse product. The unit is approximately 1,700 square feet in size. Next, I want to look at the amenity package that we're providing for the residents. If you look, we have a gated community, and as you enter the community, it opens up and there are views across our lake. We have a recreational area that has a tot lot, a pool, cabana, as well as a clubhouse. Within that clubhouse, we will have childcare available for the children, for the people that live within the community, as well as a fitness center. It's not a daycare, it's a childcare facility. So let's look at the workforce housing component. We are providing 17 workforce housing units. That's off-site. That's 1.5 times the requirement if they were built on-site. We're also delivering 69 market rate for sale townhouse units to market. Palm Beach County needs both for sale and rental product, and Palm Beach County needs both market rate and workforce product. The proposed workforce housing is just down the street at the Villages of Windsor project. Next, I want to address the enclave issue. First, this site is located within the urban-suburban tier. In the managed growth tier system, there are 5 tiers. The urban-suburban tier is the one tier that has been identified for increases in density and intensity. By allowing for increases in density and intensity in the urban-suburban tier, that relieves a little bit of the pressure that's coming on the urban and exurban tier, as well as the ag reserve tier. So let's look at the actual enclave analysis. So you can see on the graphic above, the dashed line identifies the enclave, and then our site, which is 9.2 acres in size, is dashed out on the south side of Hypoluxo Road. As we drill down and look at the enclave, the hard corner of Jog and Hypoluxo Road has a commercial land use designation. And then several years ago, the Osprey Oaks project was approved within this area. There's also several lots along the east property line that are 0.6 acres in size, which is smaller than the 1 acre requirement. And then we have several churches located along Hypoluxo Road. And then we have some landscape services and nurseries. And I think what is most important is that many of those properties along Hypoluxo Road have their ingress and egress from Hypoluxo Road. Therefore, when you look at the enclave, and as this board has done on other projects, many parcels that front a major east-west roadway are not included in overlays or in the overlay requirements. And I point to the Pioneer Road overlay that was just recently approved. This overlay exempted or excluded out by the Board of County Commissioners those parcels that were directly adjacent to Jog Road. We have a very similar situation. Also, there have been parcels that have had land use changes from LR1 to MR5. This piece is on the south side of Southern Boulevard, on the east and west sides of Jog. It's a nice development situated that transitions to the LR1 behind it. And finally, I think this is an excellent example. It's up in the north end. It's called Square Lake Development. The residential community has an LR1 land use, and but the LR1 does not go all the way up to the major roadways, whether it be Military Trail or North Lake. Those parcels actually have, if they have LR1, they've come in and requested commercial low office and act as a buffer or transition to the residential behind those major roadways. So in conclusion, in addressing the enclave issue, similar to Pioneer Road, as well as other developments, the Palm Beach County Board of County Commissioners has the ability to support a land use change from LR1 to MR5. The density that we are proposing is consistent with the Hypoluxo Road corridor. Townhouses are consistent with the development that has occurred along Hypoluxo Road, and we have eliminated any access to Ranches Road. And in conclusion, we're requesting MR5. So why are we asking for MR5? The Planning Commission had recommended LR3. The problem with LR3 is that it requires us to purchase 28 TDRs. Those TDRs cost $1 million. That's like adding $15,000 to the cost of every unit that we're providing. And it really is counterintuitive to what we're trying to accomplish in Palm Beach County to help bring down the cost of housing. I know my first unit was a townhouse unit that I purchased, and I think that this project is going to provide that opportunity to many of the people that live in Palm Beach County. And finally, the $1 million doesn't even go to address the housing crisis. We continue to see the headlines about the need for housing, whether it's workforce housing, for sale housing, but we have a supply problem. This project helps to address in a small way the issue that was facing Palm Beach County. In your add and delete sheet, you had conditions to be modified. Those conditions that we're proposing to modify are a direct result of changes to the site plan that we made. In summary, we're proposing a quality townhouse project that fits within the character of the Hypoluxo Road corridor. We're delivering 17 workforce housing units. We're addressing the supply problem by delivering 69 for-sale townhouse units, and the infrastructure is in place for this project. The roads are there, the water's there, the sewer's there, the infrastructure needed to accomplish this type of development. I hope that you'll support this project. I'm available for any questions. Thank you.
All right. Are there any questions for the applicant at this time? Not seeing any. Would staff like to make a presentation?
Since this is a small scale and the first time this project is before the board, yes, and we'll have Ina step check with the planning division.
Thank you.
Good morning. Ina Stefichuk with Planning Division. The proposed small-scale future land use amendment is Townsend Tidewater. 9.24 acre site is located on the south side of Hypoluxo Road, approximately 0.8 miles east of Jock Road. The subject site is located in the eastern half of the low-density Palm Beach Ranches subdivision. The amendment proposes to change the low residential 1 unit per acre future land use designation to medium residential 5 units per acre. The applicant is also requesting additional density through the workforce housing density program for a total of 69 dwelling units, or at 7.5 units per acre. The site's location on Hypoluxo Road near Jock Road is generally a low-density corridor, residential in character, with future land use designations ranging from LR1 to LR3. There are also several institutional uses, places of worship located along the corridor, including immediately east of the site. This is a close-up of the area. Subject site is surrounded by single-family homes on 1 to 5 acre lots and few institutional uses. The subject site is located in the eastern half of the low-density Palm Beach Ranches subdivision. It is an unrecorded plat created in 60s and consisting of 5+ acre lots. In the 2000s, in the western part, a developer acquired approximately 17 lots and developed Osprey Oaks PUD with a total of 208 units. It was developed under LR1 future land use designation through the purchase, and additional density was purchased through the TDR program. In the eastern half of the Palm Beach Ranches subdivision, where the subject site is located, several lots also have been subdivided into 1 acre lots. The eastern area remains a combination of large lots ranging in size from 1 to 5 acres with a LR1 flume. This area is one of a handful of low-density residential and agricultural pockets or islands surrounded by high densities that remain in the urban-suburban tier. In 2018, Palm Beach County adopted a rural enclave policy in a comprehensive plan to foster protection and preservation of these areas. The policy recognizes that these areas provide a valuable contribution to the housing diversity and lifestyle choices in the county. This slide has a rural enclave policy language, and it's also included in a staff report. Staff assessment is that there are several issues with the proposal. First, the applicant is proposing no transfer of development rights, which is inconsistent with the comprehensive policy 2.4b that requires TDRs for density increases. In addition, the applicant's proposal to increase density primarily through the land use change from LR1 to MR5 has an effect on reducing the project's workforce housing obligation from potential 16 units on site to 11. Note that this 11 units that applicant is proposing would not be provided on site as a part of for sale townhome project. Instead, they propose to be provided as rentals at off-site location. And this triggers a 1.5 multiplier in the code, and therefore, as applicant stipulated, it results in 17 off-site rentals. But regardless of the path to density, it is a staff assessment that applicant's request of 7.5 units per acre is not appropriate at this location, where it's surrounded by 1 to 5 acre lots within the rural enclave. Without a change to the flue, the site could be developed for up to 18 units or at a little bit less than 2 units per acre density. I'll go back here. So generally, staff assessment is that the proposed amendment is not consistent with the comprehensive plan policies regarding TDRs and compatibility. In a past week, I think on March 11, a letter from a resident was submitted to all commissioners, and yesterday it was email from Mr. and Mrs. Rosen was submitted to all commissioners, correct? Because I was, I think, blind copied on that one. If you're not in receipt, I have an email here to submit to clerk. Okay, I'll submit it to clerk. Okay. Regarding the surrounding densities, there are small pockets of higher density in the vicinity. It is important to note that these are parts within projects whose overall densities are consistent with the land use designations and compatible with the surrounding densities. These higher density parts in blue are actually workforce housing parts of this project that have, in fact, provided the workforce housing units on site. This is Osprey Oaks PUD. It utilizes existing LR1 and purchased TDRs, provided workforce housing units on site, and while maintaining overall 2.4 density. That is Osprey Oaks. The two other projects, which are outside of this rural enclave, they utilize the existing future land use designations, TDR and workforce housing density bonus programs, and provided the workforce housing units on site as rentals or for sale units. Staff is recommending denial of the request based on its incompatibility with the rural enclave and being generally inconsistent with comprehensive plan policies. Planning Commission recommended approval with modifications in 10-0 vote on October 14. Modifications consisted of change from the requested MR5 to low residential 3 units per acre, which is the lowest that would achieve the applicant's target of 69 units. Planning Commission also recommended following conditions: to cap development to 69 units, requires a purchase of 28 TDRs, and require a minimum of 23% as on-site workforce housing units. Staff recommends a motion to deny, and this concludes my presentation.
Thank you very much. Is there any questions for staff? Not seeing any. Okay, we have some cards on this item. How many cards do you have?
We have about 12, Mr. Mayor.
We have 12 cards on this item. So just to set everybody's expectations, we'll be taking a lunch break at the conclusion of this item.
The first, we do have a non-speaking card, and it's from Donna Leone, and she says this is not a good fit with our neighborhood. The first person will be Suzanne Cabrera, followed by Roxanne Ald.
Before we begin, I think we might want to do zoning's presentation.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Are we combining the items, or are we doing public comment on just the land use?
No, well, let's combine them, please. Sorry, I'm glad you recognize that. So,
Okay, we'll have the project manager come up with the project manager slideshow.
Good day, Commissioners. Donna Adelsberger with the Zoning Division. Before you is item number 18, ZCA 2021-2123, Towns at Tidewater. The subject site is located on the south side of Hypoluxo Road, approximately 0.83 miles east of Jog Road. The current FLU designation on the site is low residential 1 unit per acre with a current zoning of agricultural residential. The overall site consists of 9.24 acres. The request before you is an official zoning map amendment to allow a rezoning from the agricultural residential zoning to the residential single-family zoning district. Also a Class A conditional use to allow townhome dwelling units. A workforce housing bonus of 23 units will be approved via an administrative process for a total of 69 units. There we go. As noted on the preliminary site plan that was certified for public hearing, the applicant is proposing a total of 69 units, a 0.34 acre of recreation, a 1.31 acre of lake, 1 access from Hypoluxo with 1 emergency access from Ranches Road to address fire rescue. Staff has received comments from the general public at the Zoning Commission hearing in opposition to this request. At the November 3rd Zoning Commission hearing, the ZC voted to recommend approval of the official zoning map amendment and denial of the Class A conditional use to allow the townhomes by a vote of 7-0-1. There were 8 members of the public who spoke in opposition. Their concerns were the density, the change of character of the area, the rural enclave, and the construction traffic using Ranches Road. Staff does recommend approval of the official zoning map amendment subject to the conditions in C1. Staff does recommend denial of the townhouse Class A conditional use without prejudice. However, should the board choose to approve the request, they recommend the conditions in Exhibit C2 and those that are reflected on the add delete presented to you this morning.
okay, are there any questions from zoning staff? Not seeing any. All right, we'll go ahead now and take our public comment.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We have Susan Cabrera, followed by Roxanne Ald, followed by Warren Dans.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Suzanne Cabrera with the Housing Leadership Council, and working on housing. That's what we do. That's what we're here for. And we really have to have solutions to this crisis. We don't provide direct service, but I still get calls every single day for people needing housing in this community, and the people we need in this community. They're child care workers, they're teachers, they're nurses, everybody that needs a place to live here, or they're getting ready to leave. So that's a problem. We did a housing needs assessment, and it was completed in 2019. And this even shocked me. Between 2010 and 2019, we fell behind 20,000 units, just didn't build enough. It's not that they weren't in the right category, they just weren't there anywhere. And that was 2019, and the need increased significantly since the pandemic. For people loved, if they could work from home, they were gonna work from home in Palm Beach County, which is a great place to live. And we are taking so many steps to try to solve this crisis. We've developed a housing plan, which you're going to hear about next month. A $200 million bond was passed. We have record Sadowski funds on the way to passage right now in Tallahassee. But actually, none of this will matter if we can't get the units approved and built. So it's so important that we do things differently. We can't keep doing the same thing and expecting a different result. And this actually is a really good fit, and it's appropriate place for the units and density. That's what you all have said, that this URA is the place to increase density and make this type of thing work. And it's not only going to provide 17 units off-site, but 69 units on-site, and they are for sale, which is the holy grail. I spoke to the school board a couple weeks ago and talked about our study with teachers, what would keep them in the area, and a house that they could purchase would keep them in the area and keep them satisfied. This is so important. And this will house, you know, we already know these units will help overall because they're addressing the supply and demand, that severe imbalance. But it's also going to provide you those units that are priced for the workforce. And it's going to be perfect for these teachers, nurses, people that call me every day that really need a place to live. And I feel the applicant in this part, they presented to HLC. We have an approval process. They went through that. They've worked with the residents. I think they've compromised a lot and really tried to work this out. And my last comment, we can't continue to do things the same way and expect a different result. This is an appropriate place for increased density, and we really have to improve things to solve the crisis. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Roxanne Ald, and I live right next door to this proposed development. I'm right over the fence. And I have chickens, I have a farm. I have chickens, ducks, horses, everything. Make a lot of noise and are farm animals. I've been there 45 years, and that's where I want to stay. I've already stated in a lot of things my absolute opposition to this development. It's totally out of character for the area. It just doesn't fit. My neighbors and I strongly oppose it, the taking of our neighborhood way of life and land values. Most developments of this density are not dropped in the middle of an established community of cohesive values, that thus resulting in a complete change and destruction of the neighborhood. When I look around, I see use of abandoned golf courses, large swaths of vacant land used for this type of development, not someone's current homestead. This is incompatible development and results in a taking by definition of industry standards. It changes land values and uses for current owners. General procedure in a taking for public use requires that the authority authorizing this must do much more improving the need and must properly compensate the affected parties, plus must pay the affected parties' legal counsel in the event they have mortgages, the counsel for the mortgage holder also. The mortgage holders are affected in this. This will require much more input than just the developers I want. The current theme for this deal is need for affordable housing. I assert that $400,000 and up is not affordable housing. They do not plan on even building the affordable housing on the site. The neighborhood and land therein is now agricultural residential with 1 house per acre zoning. We raise farm animals and contribute to the community. You need to prove to us how this taking is a necessary public need for people to be paying $400,000 and up for a townhouse. Build affordable housing. I would like to see it. I don't know if any in Palm Beach County and soon all of Florida. Show me. Till that, stay out of our neighborhood. Don't take our land. This is not going to give you affordable housing, not at $400,000 per house. It's just not, and it's going to change the character. All up and down Hypoluxo Road, there are buildings that they have built. And they're nice looking buildings, but they're just what they are. You come to just our little 0.8 of an acre from the corner, and we have some green space. I have horses, kids in the neighborhood come around and pet my horses. They like hearing the chickens, they like it. It gives a different flavor. Across from us is Winston Trails. Winston Trails is a nice community. There aren't townhouses there. It sort of makes Hypoluxo Road come down to the corner without a whole bunch of congestion. And it gives a nice flavor to the land. Later on, maybe there will be commercial use along the road, but right now it's not. I have trouble getting out of my driveway on Hypoluxo right now.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for your consideration.
So we have Warren Dance followed by Carrie Terwilger, but I can barely read it. But the email address is clwillow@comcast.net, followed by Joseph Stair.
Thank you. Warren Dans. I'm the president of the Bay Meadow Homeowner Association, which is a subdivision within Winston Trails. We're across the street Could you put the prior presentation on for me, the second to last slide before the recommendation? That shows the density. Thank you. The developer asked for postponement during the week prior to the November BCC meeting. That was after they came to Cobra and made their presentation, and we asked them, and I specifically asked, being the delegate from Winston Trails, please come speak to us. They asked for their postponement. They have still not contacted us at Winston Trails. I'm glad that this community, that the developer went next door and has worked really hard to give everyone what they want, but they haven't talked about the community, and that's who we represent and what's right for the area, not just the fence you're going to build in the back and the doorway or whatever. I'm going to read you the email that Winston Trails, our association, sent you. That describes the problems. It's concise. Winston Trails is a mixed-age community of 1,891 homes with young families and retirees. We've been very open to work with Cobra and all the developers at the corner of where they built the Cumberland Farms, and we've been open to development. We don't say no. We help build a good product. Our main concern is the unprecedented density and then building something with condominiums and no homes. All of the areas on the map have condominiums and homes, and they have total densities that follow the West Boynton plan that go down in density as you move east, or as you move west. So that's not the slide. It has numbers on it. It's the second to last slide. It shows that our density is 2.4 in Winston Trails across the street. The same as Osprey Oaks, 2.4. Next door on the east side of this community that they're trying to build, it's 3.9. The larger numbers that were displayed earlier were only on the smaller pod, and it was a sub-partial. Thank you. So our main problem is if you allow this, all condos, which does not exist anywhere, okay, then all of the other areas, the churches, they're going to sell their land. It will all be condos, and you'll get 10 per unit, or 10 per acre. And then when the falls, which we worked with to allow them to continue to exist on the corner, which is 200 to 300 acres, that'll be 2,000 condos or apartments. We are the teachers in the area, okay? I want you to understand this.
I ask
And
you
the
to please wrap
workforce-
up your comments, sir.
Yes. The workforce housing isn't even being built here. They're selling full price units and shipping it off to rentals that are going to be
Thank you very much.
next to the turnpike at Hypoluxo.
Thank you very much, sir.
My name is Carl Terwilliger. I live at 5782 Ranches Road. And we met with these developers and representatives twice. They have really done nothing more than give us an extra 15 feet along Ranches Road. They haven't reduced the number of units. They really haven't worked with us at all. In fact, they've insulted us, telling us that everything is impossible that we've requested from them. What I feel I would like to see, and maybe some of my neighbors, is more of a buffer. The lake goes on our side. The native vegetation will be built up thickly with native shrubs, you may know wild coffee, etc., so that we don't have to have a wall. If you go to Western Way, Osprey Estates is buffered by plants. And personally, that's what I would like to see, only not Clusia, of course. So we would like to receive the lake and the buffer of plants so we don't have to see them, and a fence, maybe a bit more of a buffer for Roxanne's property on the west and the eastern one. And I am strongly urging you to deny their request for 69 units on what's zoned for 1 unit per acre. We have a real open space problem in Palm Beach County where people can go and refresh themselves. And I know there's a housing problem, but really, do we have to fill up every bit of available space with homes? Or can we leave some areas alone, like along Pioneer Road in our community and others? People in our neighborhood produce mangoes, they have horses. I produce native plants and do landscaping with them. I'm easy to reach for most people. I don't want to move out into the acreage, but that is what you are forcing agriculture to do, become less accessible. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So we have, Mr. Mayor, we have Joseph Stair, followed by Constance Allen, followed by Dennis McKenzie.
Good morning. Joe Stair. I live on Saddle Road, about 350 feet from the proposed project. Been out there for 20 years. Staff and zoning have denied the project, and I am also against the development. Tidewater project is incompatible with the neighborhood. In fact, it's nothing like anything in our neighborhood. Back half of our neighborhood is truly a rural enclave. It contains approximately 160 acres and only 60 homes, roughly 1 unit per 2.6 acres. Comparing apples to apples, the proposed project contains 9 acres, 69 townhomes, which equates to 18 units for every 2.6 acres. Same size, massive difference in density. Townhouses will be 2 stories, approximately 25 feet in height, with setbacks of, 30 feet. So to put that in perspective, 25 feet, 30 feet. So from there to there, that's the setback. It's gonna be about that big. It's gonna have a 500-foot roof line. This building or room is roughly 85 feet. So 5 times that high, and if you're Roxanne's property, you're looking right there. It just doesn't fit. We do understand the economies of clustering density along the roadways, but this Tidewater project buffer from Hypoluxo is 75 feet. That's farther away than it is for our neighborhood. It comes back 580 feet into the neighborhood. The townhouses, the majority are clustered inside up against Ranches Road or our residence, with only 2 buildings facing Hypoluxo. So it's inside our neighborhood. So I just don't buy that it's taking advantage of the Hypoluxo corridor. The zoning and land use designations are established for guidelines to develop and protect the existing residents that are there. Some have been there 20, 30, 40 years, and believe their way of life is important just as it is for the developer who desires to make the money. So we should have an equal playing field, is all I'm saying, is that just because we need houses in Palm Beach County doesn't mean they all have to be put into that piece. And everybody else that's been there for, like I say, 40 years, I've been there 20 years, we're gonna suffer from it. So I passed out a site plan. I think everybody should have one in front of it. And we came up with the idea of putting single family along our roadway, pushing the density or the townhomes up against Hypoluxo, just like the Silverwood project, which is directly east of us. And that would give us a buffer, give us a matching style of housing for our neighborhood while bringing more density for additional housing. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir.
Hello, I am Constance Allen. I live at 5907 Ranches Road. We are the Palm Beach Ranches, an established rural enclave, as everyone has been discussing. I have lived here since 1984. That's long before the vegetable growers sold their properties to develop the current line of PUDs on Hypoluxo Road that incur the high-density areas we've already been discussing. We're different from those housing developments. Your staff has outlined that to you in your report. This area is one of a handful of rural enclaves left in the urban-suburban tier. This constitutes and contributes to the diversity of lifestyles recognized and supported in the comprehensive plan. Staff has concluded that the proposed development with 69 townhomes at a proposed 7.5 units per acre is not consistent with the housing pattern in this area. We are counting on you to uphold the existing development policies. Please do not ignore the staff conclusions. I would request the Board of Commissioners to follow the results that your staff has recommended. Deny the land use amendment changes at the requested level. Deny the zoning changes. Please preserve our rural enclave. We are your constituents, and we expect you to stand up for us. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Good morning, Dennis McKenzie, resident Ranches Road. I hope everyone has read the staff recommendations who denied this request. I know they've already been read, so I won't go back into it. So essentially, the applicant is asking the commission to ignore staff recommendations, ignore the comprehensive plan, ignore current property development regulations, disregard the thoughts of the adjacent property owners. They don't want TDRs. They want to reduce their workforce housing obligation. And you know what? At the end of last meeting, February 23rd, we were talking about densities in this acreage or whatever, and further out where we could put these densities. And isn't that what this is all about? That we're going to try to put these kind of densities? Is this going to be the first development here that we're going to achieve these densities by giving them waivers and exceptions to the rule? I don't believe that they're meeting the exhibits as far as setbacks. I could remember reading in there where townhomes required a 30-foot setback. And now they're giving the lady who lives next door on that 300-foot property line, they're going to put up a wall and give her 10 feet? And what is this development? We're providing the green space for this development. So I don't know, is that what this is all about? Is this why the commission, I know apparently I could tell that he has talked to all the commissioners. Is this the word he's getting? Let's go and try to go for this amount of densities, and we'll make sure, or I just surmise that we'll maybe waive some of these restrictions and regulations to let you do this. You know, this property could be developed. It's the densities that's the biggest problem. You know, we aren't opposed to housing. It's just this amount of housing. And it'd actually be good to get some housing there to probably eliminate some other activities that could be put in that situation. Let's put some homes there. Let's make them compatible. And in that meeting, it said what you were going to do was send out the residents with the agents to achieve compatibility. Well, they've taken all the compatibility out of this project. There's nothing we can put back in. There is no way to make this project compatible with our community. Maybe another project? Yes. This one is a turkey. Thank you,
sir.
We have Lorian McKenzie, followed by Ellen Tenahill, followed by Jeff Arnold.
Good morning. Lorian McKenzie. I live on Ranches Road. We've been there 42 years. So I'm a native of Palm Beach County. But when we had the opportunity to move to the western area to have this rural lifestyle, we grabbed it. And 42 years, we live in the woods. Maybe the animals don't make a difference to everybody, but there are so many unusual animals. You know, on top of regular items, we have probably 40 wood ducks. We have nesting hawks, we have ospreys, hence the name Osprey Oaks. It really did work. So you've seen how we go down Ranches Road, goes a mile, it turns a quarter mile south, it comes back a mile on Western Way. So Palm Beach Ranches, Saddle, Western, you know, we're a lifestyle that's rural. We met with the developer twice. The first was a total disaster. People walked out. It was a little obnoxious. Then we were asked to work with the developer, so we went to another meeting, and Mr. Weiss's assistant helped us, helped put it together. It didn't go, well, it was calmer, but we said, could we put in single family? He said, nope, 69 townhomes. We said, could we do townhomes and residents? Nope, 69 townhomes. Can we give the adjoining property more buffer? Nope, we couldn't get 69 townhomes. So this developer wants 69 townhomes, and he wants to change all the rules to get there. So I've read the staff reports. I've read how it's inconsistent, and it is. There's a type 2 incompatibility buffer. So I believe the staff recommended 30 feet with an additional 15 feet incompatibility. That's 45 feet. This developer is trying to give 15. So like I say, it's a wall of homes, and Hypluxo Road does have homes, but it doesn't go into the interior of this rural enclave. So I would say, oh, and then I looked at Melissa McKinley, when she was here, said we have rules for a reason. We need to support the people who were here first. And I hope that philosophy still prevails. Let's make additional units where there's vacant land or where there's housing, but let's not ruin the lifestyle of the people that are out there. And Osprey Oaks, we worked with them, putting that community in, 2 homes per acre. Osprey Estates is less than 1 home per acre. So we ask you to please keep some of the floor in Florida and deny this. Thank you.
My name is Ellen Tannehill. I live at 6388 Ranches Road, and I am opposed to the town of Tidewater development as it is currently proposed. I live in the western half of Palm Beach Ranches, and along with 4 other homeowners on Ranches Road, we are surrounded by the Osprey Oaks development. The developer agreed to a 6-foot concrete wall down Ranches Road that surrounds our properties, but he also agreed to build no 2-story houses adjoining our properties, and he put lakes or streets on the other side of this wall and buffer so that their houses are set further back. I only have houses on the west side of my property, and they are all single-story, except for 1 2-story in the far southwest corner that I agreed to, but now regret. The developer has offered a concrete wall, but is not willing to reconfigure his site plan to put the increased density and townhomes toward Hypoluxo Road and reduce the density as the property extends into our neighborhood. Even though the property has access to Hypoluxo Road, it is still part of Palm Beach Ranches, zoned 1 per acre, and the density should be decreased towards Ranches Road. I believe the owner and land planner can improve on their site plan, but still give the owner a return on his investment, give the county the increased housing units and density, but also protect our native rural nature. It is your duty to not only help the developer, but also to protect our rural neighborhood from a plan that is out of character with our neighborhood. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you.
We have Jeff Arnold, followed by Lance Lilly, followed by Dominique Markery.
Thank you for the opportunity, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners. I live in Saddle Road. I hope you don't mind. I'd like to recognize my neighbors, which we live in a community because we don't want an HMO. We have teachers.
I ask you to get a little closer to the microphone, sir.
We have teachers, firemen, veterans, working class people that the American dream was we could buy a house and live in it. Wasn't to live in high density housing. High density housing has high turnover. Our neighborhood, people live 30, 40, 20 years. They move there and they don't move. So I think this is an intrusion to our lifestyle. If you want to have teachers to be able to afford, you got to pay teachers more. It's not that they can't find housing. They're asking veterans to be teachers because they're leaving the state because they're not paying the teachers enough. Well, and also, I just don't think it fits in our community. I know the builders are trying to work with us. I don't know how much they've worked with us, but I appreciate your time, and I want to thank my neighbors. And the only closest thing we have to an HMO is when people try to change the zoning, and we all get together to oppose that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
We have Lance Lilly, followed by Dominique Markry, followed by Elliot Johnson.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm actually here as a long-term, lifelong Palm Beach County resident. I'm here in support of the project, simply just because I'd like to echo what was mentioned from the first speaker, public speaker today. Palm Beach County, as well as the rest of the nation, struggles with housing supply as well as affordable housing. My wife and I actually got married in 2021, and we were looking for a house, which at that time was very scarce, the housing market. We happened to find a house, which actually is about a mile from this development. And based on that, I would like to say the importance of an increase of the housing supply, as well as the off-site workforce housing that they mentioned in their presentation. The applicant did mention that the Hypoluxo corridor is a mixture of housing, which has some single family, but then also multifamily as well. So the use is similar or compatible. So I do want to just conclude and just say, please, commissioners, do not only look or listen to the residents that are surrounding this area, but also think about future residents or essential workers or whatnot that need the additional housing supply. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we have Dominique, followed by Elliot Johnson, followed by Drew Martin.
Good afternoon. How's everyone doing? I just wanted, I'm a Palm Beach County resident. I've worked on the affordable housing bond and other issues related to housing in our community. I've heard a lot of what's going on in the communities all over the place throughout Palm Beach County. And I think this is a really important issue that we all have to, and it's very sensitive, obviously. There's a lot of concern about impact to the residents as well as the community in general. The problem is that we have to think long-term. This is a long-term process that we have to think about. And if we keep denying any kind of development in any area, we're not going to be able to solve the problem, because right now we're very, 20,000 units but behind on housing in our community. And it's just going to increase the more we delay making, these kind of critical decisions in our communities. I live in an area very similar to this, and it has the same zoning, issues. And I think, overall as a community, we have to start thinking more long-term as a community, not just for ourselves, because we're not going to have teachers, first responders, people that are serving us at restaurants or working in our stores. And so from a short-sighted perspective, it makes sense to just stop all development and any increase in density. But from a long-term perspective, the people that are moving in, that are buying $1 million homes, their kids are not working at our stores. They're not working at Publix, or they're not becoming teachers. They're probably not working at all. And so we need people in our community that can support the economy that we have, because it's based on, not only agriculture out west, but also hospitality and tourism. And so there's a huge need for these kind of projects. And if we keep denying them all the time, and maybe there's some compromises that can be made to make this happen, but I think we need to really think more strategically. The decisions we're making now are going to impact our community for the next 20, 30 years. And so if we keep stopping these projects from going forward, it's not going to solve any problems. Thank you for your time.
Hi, my name is Elliot Johnson, and full disclosure, I am also a member of the Housing Leadership Council. I also serve on the Commission for Affordable Housing. But I'm here as a business owner and a long-term resident of Palm Beach County. I own Manor House Construction, Elysium Land Development. I have no relationship with the developer here, and have had no discussions with him. But I do want to represent and by the way, somebody said that we're going to lunch after this, so I'm going to try to be faster than 3 minutes. But I do represent the aspirant residents, the people who don't have a voice. And that's often the case when development is going to occur anywhere in the United States or the world, much less Palm Beach County, is that the people who do need that housing, the people who might work at Manatee Elementary, who might work at Park Vista Community High, who might work at Santa Lucia's High, all which are schools that are about a mile away from this development, would be working at. You have Palm Beach County Fire Station 46 that is a half a mile away, and JFK Hospital is inside 5 miles. The employees of all of these businesses and more need places to live. Palm Beach County has about 1.5 million residents. We are growing at an extraordinarily high rate. We absolutely need housing. We have a crisis, and this development could be a part of it. I'm not going to go into the details because I know that you know them about how bad the situation is. But the reality is that many people in our community have a difficult time finding housing at any price. And so we have to find smart ways to do it, and I believe that this is one of the places we can bring smart housing solutions. I've listened to some of the voices that don't like the idea of this this development, and just to address a couple of the points that I've heard in the most constructive way that I possibly can, I don't see that it is surrounded by rural areas. I was born on a farm in South Carolina. I know what a rural area is. I live in an agricultural preserve. I understand what that is. This is a development that's going to face a 6-lane road. It's a major east-west artery in Palm Beach County. And I just feel that it needs to be built. I've heard references to eminent domain, which don't apply here. And I've heard criticisms that the developer didn't purchase TDRs, which is a near irrelevancy. I'm down to 23 seconds, so I guess I'm not going to make my 2-minute mark. But whether a development or not reaches its density with or without purchasing TDRs shouldn't be an issue, because quite frankly, all purchasing TDRs does is increase the price of the project. It does nothing to increase housing in Palm Beach County, which we desperately need. Please approve Towns at Tidewater. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
We have the final 2 cards, which is Drew Martin and Jim Knight. Okay, so there's no Drew Martin or Jim Knight, Mr. Mayor.
All right. Well, thank you. This comes back to the board. Received a message from Commissioner Marino. She had a question in regards to the TDRs for staff, and I will share that with you. Hang on, let me open that up. She asked if you can explain the TDR program, and
Sure. Sorry, you said if we could explain the TDR program, the basic, like the functions of it, and so yeah.
Well, I'll read her whole message. Can you ask staff to again explain the TDR program? I'm a bit incensed that Jennifer said $1 million won't do any good. And then her last comment is, my voice is getting less and less, and she wants to save it for later in the meeting.
Sure. So I guess before I get to the specific answer on that, one thing just for clarification and consistency, as we do with these types of residential projects, the first method for density increases are through our TDR program. So that's when, in the staff presentation, we were talking about the lowest flue available that could get them to their target density. That's with the LR3 and purchase of available TDRs. The dollars that are then collected through the purchase of the TDRs are used to purchase environmentally sensitive lands throughout the county.
Okay, thank you very much. All right. Can I ask our applicant to come? I have some questions. I don't know if other members of the board do, but I have some questions for the applicant. So one of the comments had to do with Cobra. Is this project a Cobra community, or would be considered a Cobra community, or is there a reason why Cobra, the question, one of the commenters made was that Cobra was not involved, or?
We did present the project that's in Cobra's geographic area. So we did meet with Cobra and present to Cobra Growth Management.
And did they request that you speak to Winston Trails community?
I heard the gentleman say that. I don't remember that request. You know, we did have a meeting with the Cobra Growth Management. I think it was more meeting with the residents of the community. That's my recollection. And also the gentleman referenced from Winston Trails that we were doing condos. We're not doing condos. We're doing for sale townhouse units. So.
And that was one of my other questions. Was my understanding was these are townhomes, and then in terms, not that are they zero lot line? Are they fee simple? What are they? Can you explain that?
Sure. So the units are fee simple. Each homeowner buys the lot that the unit is on. They have a 25-foot front yard. They have a 25-foot rear yard, and they own the individual lot with the building. So that's fee simple. Condo is actually considered multifamily. So this is fee simple, for sale, townhouse development.
And then my last question has to do with the landscape buffer. That was also brought up. Is there as part of what's being proposed, is there a landscape buffer in addition to the wall?
Along the south side, we have a 30-foot landscape buffer with a berm and a wall. And then on the east property line, we have a 15-foot landscape buffer and a wall. And on the west property line, we have a 15-foot landscape buffer and a wall are being proposed.
All right. Thank you. All right. Any other questions? Commissioner Baxter, I want to talk to our attorney first.
In the interest of due process and consistent with our rules, now would be the appropriate time if the applicant had any other responses to any of the public or staff comments.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Well, I did want to make the clarification on the condos that they were fee simple. I also wanted to just note that I can appreciate the residents' comments about the rural lifestyle, and we have tried to work with the buffering and the landscaping, the walls, the fences. You know, this is the process that you go through to modify the land use and the zoning. We're following the rules. Times have changed. I think you'll agree. Every application that comes forward, or many applications that come forward, need a land use change or a zoning application. So we're simply following the process. We're not asking for a variance or anything out of the ordinary. You know, at one time, I know townhouses were maybe not considered compatible, but even as recently as within the last couple of months, the board talked about whether townhouses were compatible with single-family development, and I think it was identified that yes, they are considered compatible. That was discussed at the housing conference, and as you heard from one of the gentlemen, I really feel like this community The townhouse community is a great opportunity for someone to actually get into home ownership. I know my first home purchase was actually a townhouse, and I think the county needs this product type, and I hope that you'll support us. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Baxter, you're recognized.
I guess I'm a little overly sensitive to sticking high-density things in the middle of 1 unit per acre, let's say. I do understand the need for housing, and I do understand the need for people to be able to afford to live here. I don't really want to say whether I'm for or against this overall, but I would ask that if we do, where the board decides to approve, that maybe we add a disclosure to anyone that does purchase there, that they do know the allowed uses around the property, so that we don't have them coming in and saying, I didn't know, and then start to complain and push people out. That's all I ask.
Not a problem. We'll agree to that.
Thank you. Commissioner Sacks, you're recognized. Vice Mayor, sorry.
Oh, I don't have any further questions of Ms. Morton, but if anybody does, I'll wait until afterwards.
I do. I still have a
Okay,
few
so I'm
things.
sorry, I'll wait until.
Yeah. So, I'm the commissioner that represents this area, and I also represent the Pioneer Road community and went through helping get an overlay put in place in that community. There's a recognition, and when we went through that, there was a recognition by everybody that what was on Jog Road was going to be different than what's back behind it, back into the neighborhood. I look at this area and with the understanding that Hypoluxo Road is different than Ranches Road, and come down starting to then think about, well, how do you mitigate the impacts to the community that would sit behind that area, so that it doesn't have an impact on the folks back there? Because first off, to the people that have come out, I want to thank you for being here and sharing your concerns. Because I have concerns. I want to see your ability to continue to live in the lifestyle that you have chosen, that you've grown accustomed to be able to continue that on. But I also understand that development out on properties that abut Hypoluxo are going to be different than what's back in the neighborhood. I mean, as we look at the map, it is a transitionary area, and how do we utilize that for, as we know, we have needed housing, and then how do we also protect the community? And I committed to them that I would be delighted and would happy to work on creating an overlay for that community, and my office has reached out to our staff to start those discussions on how we would move forward. But it does require, to create an overlay, is going to require the majority, I think, for this board to approve it. They're going to want to hear from the vast majority of people being supportive, because putting an overlay on there, as we know, is more restrictive, makes things more restrictive, and it's really important when we talk to property owners that everybody understands that it will make changes more difficult to happen because of the supermajority vote that goes along with that at requiring 5 positive votes. I share concerns about the process of how we get to the density. Because we do have policies in the county regarding how we get to density, and I think staff has done a good job in identifying there is a path forward without going to an MR5, of going to an LR3. There is a path forward for that. I also, as somebody, and I think we all are acutely aware of the need for workforce and affordable housing in this community. And as do our voters, because the vast majority of our voters voted in support of approving a $200 million bond, which means that the community is absorbing that cost initially. And that speaks volumes as to the understanding of what the need is. My question, I have another question for you, Jennifer, which is, I know we talked about trying to totally eliminate any access onto Ranches Road, but Fire Rescue, for life safety reasons, has determined that they want an access point. You mentioned that it would be, you could create that in an opaque way. My question to you, though, is can you create it at the same heights between the wall, or I like to say the super bat cave version of it, where you wouldn't even notice it was there, that there was such a gate?
Yes, we can do that. We'll be glad to work on that.
Okay. I'm gonna hand over the gavel to you. I'd like to make a motion. So, and staff, I'm gonna need your help on this because I would like to move this forward, but in the way that was done by our planning commission with the LR3, the requiring of the TDRs and the requirement of the on-site affordable housing. So if you all can help me with such a motion.
Yes, so in the staff report, Exhibit 1 has the 3 staff. So if the board chooses to adopt, then staff had the recommendation for the LR3, which included the 3 conditions, and I can read those to you.
If you could, please,
sure.
sir.
The first is the subject site shall be limited to a maximum of 69 dwelling units with no further density increases permitted through density bonus programs. The second condition, a minimum of 28 transfer of development right units shall be purchased and constructed on site. 34% of the TDR units shall be purchased at the workforce housing program rate and shall apply to the minimum number of workforce housing units required by this ordinance. And the third, the zoning development order shall require a minimum of 23% of the total dwelling units to be built as on-site workforce housing units. This workforce housing units are subject to the applicable requirements of the workforce housing program in Article 5G1 of the ULDC.
Mr. Mayor, I would second your motion if we include the disclosure that Commissioner Baxter had requested.
Yes.
So I'll second the motion.
Okay, we have a second, and then Commissioner Baxter, you're recognized.
Sorry.
Okay, and I need legal counsel would like to be recognized.
Before, we'll obviously treat these separately, the flu amendment and then the zoning actions, but before you make any decisions, I think we need some clarification from staff, because it's my understanding that if you go with the Planning Commission's recommendation and require the additional TDRs, that would require an additional conditional use application.
Yes, the zoning application must be postponed because we have to add the request. The applicant has to request the TDRs for the Class A. It has to go back to the zoning commission for a recommendation.
Okay, so then this would be less than the zoning, that would be item 18. Okay, so this would just be for the land use. Okay. All right.
That's correct.
Okay, any, Commissioner Woodward, you're recognized.
Yes, a quick question. If we go with the recommended changes, is there a difference in the number of workforce housing units?
Yes, so there's some math to this calculation. So with the, as the motion was made, that would require the units to be built on site. That equates to 16 workforce housing units. As it was mentioned in Jennifer's presentation as well as staff, the method by which the applicant was seeking with the MR5 and no TDRs would result in 11 units, so 5 less. However, when a project, and this is in the Workforce Housing Program Code and the Unified Land Development Code, when a for-sale project chooses to not build the units on site and chooses to transfer them as an off-site rental unit, there's a 1.5 multiplier. So that would result in what they were proposing is then 17 units, because again, their obligation was 11. They were choosing to do off-site rental, 11 and the 1.5 get you to 17, and then put those workforce housing units in the Villages of Windsor project, which is a few miles west of on Hypoluxo at Lyons Road.
Just one more point. So if they do them on-site, it still remains 69 units? And if they do them off-site, it would be 69 plus 17 units?
So, so those 17 units would then be additional workforce housing units at the already approved Villages of Windsor. So we wouldn't be talking about a net change in total units. It's just that, so this site is 69 units regardless. With those, if the 17 units were built off-site at Villages of Windsor, that already has a condition of approval that limits that site to 183 or 187 units. So there would just be 17 more of those units at that project would be workforce housing units.
Okay, sorry, one final point. So with the 16 that would be required on-site workforce housing units, what would the price point be on those? Sorry.
So there is a range. There would have to be roughly equal amounts in the different levels of the program, the 60 to 80, 80 to 100. Give me 1 second. I'll pull up the latest prices.
I got to it before Kevin did.
Thank you, Patrick.
Prices range from $168,000 in our 60 to 80% category, $216,000 in our 80 to 100% category, $264,000 in our 100 to 120% category. So anywhere from 168 to 264 for this calendar year.
Any further comments?
Yeah, I do, Mayor.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Vice Mayor, you're recognized.
Thank you very much. I'm going to pass this over to you. Does the applicant still wish to go forward? This changes dramatically the cost and the requirements. I don't want to put you on the spot in terms of you came in with one proposal and now we are looking at another. Is this compatible with your original plans?
Thank you, Vice Mayor. We'll go ahead and accept the LR3 land use change. It'll give us a chance to review the zoning application since staff indicated that we would have to come back with a Class A conditional use. So we'll review that over however long that takes to go through the process. But we will take the LR3.
And will you, Ms. Martin, and I'm worked with you before. You're very, very professional. Will you have an opportunity to speak to the folks so that they understand these changes? You know, we talk with LR this and TDRs, but they live there, and I know exactly. I live in sort of an agricultural enclave, and I have chickens and a horse, and I think it's rather important that we know our neighbors. And as Commissioner Baxter said, you better let people know they got roosters over there, probably, with the chickens. That makes a big difference. So I think it's important that as we sit up here and make these changes and you accept them, that you talk to the neighbors because Palm Beach County is one big neighborhood. And I think it's very important that they understand and discuss with you and your client what you want to do in their neighborhood, because you're going into their neighborhood, and I think it's a very important part of how we do business here in Palm Beach. So, and I know you will. You're very professional. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Okay, Commissioner Barnett, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. To Commissioner Vice Mayor Sachs's point, we do have our neighbors here, and I'd like to hear from our folks, in particular, anybody here from Winston Trails, representative of the HOA, who may like to speak to these recommended conditions to see if this is acceptable to them. Because to my understanding and my knowledge and understanding, the density issue hasn't been thoroughly addressed to my satisfaction. I'd like to hear if anybody would be interested in speaking up. because as of right now, I don't know if I can even go along with the recommended conditions. Warren, Dans, anybody else? Please, thank you.
LR3 would fit perfectly, as all the communities do, along the street. How you get to density, nothing is at 7.5. There isn't anything within a few miles of us. That's fine. LR3 is excellent.
Thank you. I also have a question for you, Jennifer. We talked about this. If the Board of County Commissioners decided not to approve this application, and it looks like they're probably going to, what would be the alternative for your client as far as how they would use this property?
You know, I don't, it's hard to say. I mean, right now, they've owned the property. They've used it as a nursery, actually, for his father to play around out there and farm, but it's just gotten too much for him. So I'm not sure what the next option would be, but we'll take the LR3 and we'll go from there.
Thank you.
Mayor, if I may?
Yes, sir.
I just want something to be very clear, so there's no confusion by anyone. What we're talking about here is the method to reach the ultimate 69 units. So that density on the site, that 7.5 units per acre that's been referenced, is not changing. What we're talking about here is that method through TDR. So I just want it to be very clear that we're not talking about, the LR3 doesn't result in a reduced density.
But it does make it compatible with the other all the other properties around there are also LR3.
Well, right, it keeps it as a low residential future land use. I just wanted everyone to know that the number of units isn't lower, but.
Right, but that opportunity of increased density through the TDR program and workforce housing program has been made available to anyone else with an LR3 property, correct?
Yes, it would be available.
Thank you. Commissioner Bernard, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just since the zoning is not being approved today, I'm hoping that there's an opportunity for Jennifer and the community to get a chance to present a final product that will, work on some of these buffer issues, if it's possible, Mr. Mayor.
I think that's an excellent suggestion, and I know Ms. Morton is listening intently, and we'll be making those efforts.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. All right. There's no other discussion on this item. Let's do it. I think all those in favor?
Mayor, I did send you a text.
Oh, I will look. Sorry. All right. I have no issues with townhomes as I lived in one in PGA. It is still a fee simple home, and any home can be 2 stories, being that the entrance is on a major thoroughfare. I have no issues with your motion. Thank you. Okay, so read into the record. All right. Okay, with that, all those in favor? Any opposed? No. We have 1 opposition. That would be from Commissioner Barnett. All right, thank you very much. We are going to take a break for lunch.
To vote on the postponement.
Item 18, if we could have a postponement for 60 days, that will allow us to add in the Class A and go to the Zoning Commission and then come before you again.
And if sorry, if I may, before we get into that, has the applicant reached the 180-day time limit under the statute? And if so, can you just give us a verbal yes that you approve an extension of that?
Yes, we request an extension to the 180 days.
Okay,
Thank you.
So the postponement would be to the May BCC hearing.
Okay, so now we need a vote on the postponement. All those in favor of postponing the zoning application till May zoning hearing? Seeing all those opposed? Seeing none, it would be 7-0. All right. I have a question here. How do we know how many people, how many cards do you have? 1:40 if we gave 1 minute. But okay. Yeah, we'll be back at 1:30. I know there's a question in front of me about people speaking, and we'll be limiting public comment to 1 minute. We are on recess till, let's make it 1:30. They can figure.